That's $10,000, Connor. Ha ha! Yeah! Yeah! This show is not for sharpshooters. This show is a fucking machine gun. There's no chewy center to this show. It's all hard candy. This show is not a sniper on a fucking roof. This show is a drone taking out a village. Do not invite me into your house because I will come in and I will wreak fucking havoc. Hey, what's happening? Mike Schmidt, 40-Year-Old Boy Podcast. Take 3 this week. We've killed how much audio? Probably 8 minutes so far. We've got it stored. We've got it stored if you want to hear it. Folks, we'll release it someday as a bonus episode.
No, it's not stored at all.
We have it in the lockbox. Yes, we do. We have it in the lockbox. That's where all of the audio goes that isn't used for this show. You know what we should do throughout the year? Whenever I kill a chunk, save it in like a file, and then that'll be the last episode of the year. How great would that be? Probably not good. You don't even like the real episodes. Why the fuck are you going to like those episodes? A compilation Crazy Quilt episode. I think that would be fun, actually. I'd like to hear all the shit that I gave away and threw away. Wouldn't you? Wouldn't you, folks? Aren't you out there right now thinking, what bees did he not unleash upon us? Because the bees that I give you are certainly entertaining enough. But when I put a bees on the shelf, you got to be thinking, my God, what could it have possibly... It must have been too strong. It was too funny. He couldn't release it into the wild. That's what it was. Obviously, he's thinking of the people and he doesn't want to hurt them in any way. So I don't want to double you over. I don't want you coughing up blood with laughter. Actually, bullshit. That's my goal. I want you to die from laughter. When you really get to the essence of it, isn't that what every comedian's trying to do? I want to murder you. I want to make you laugh so hard you can't breathe and you die. And granted, that will kind of whittle down my audience over time unless I get more converts. That's the thing. Dude, I could be the Hail Bop of podcasts. Dude, let's buy outfits that match and Nike shoes and let's all climb into bed and laugh until we fucking die. Let's do it. God damn it, I'm in. I want to be Marshall Applewhite. I want to get a fucking... Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Marshall Applewhite was a quarterback for the University of Texas. If I remember correctly, Marshall Applewhite may have been a quarterback for the Texas Longhorns. So I don't want to be him, quite frankly. I want to be whoever the fuck the Hail Bop guy was. That guy. Yeah, but I think he was an apple something, right? Wasn't he? I don't know. There's some sort of apple. It might have been a Marshall. I don't know. I want to be an apple Marshall. You know what? That's what I want to be. I want to be Marshall of the Apple Dumpling Gang. That's what I want to be. I want to pin a tin star to my chest and run you guys into the Who's Gal. That's what I want to do. You're all going to the clink under the watchful eye of me and my deputy, Apple Dumpling Jr. I don't know. I can't name him. Peep?
It was Bo and Peep at Hail Bop, so your deputy has to be Peep.
I refuse to hire a guy named Peep.
Deputy Peep.
No, he'd have to be a tough guy to be. You got to get through. I need a tough deputy. Because when they shoot me, inevitably they will. They're not going to shoot him. And I can't leave the cult in the hands of someone named Peep. It's not happening. God damn it. I'm just happy I thought of Marshall Applewhite and then I remembered on the fly that he was from the University of Texas. All right, good. The fuck was I talking about? Why am I doing all that? We were talking about a cult. I want to be Hail Bop. I want people to die. I want people to die. That's what I'm rooting for. I'm rooting for your untimely demise. And I wish to have a hand in it, folks. You know what? I'll settle for a thumb. I wish to have a thumb in it. I wish to poke a thumb into a pie and pull out a plum and you all die. You pull out his thumb and stuck it in a pie, you pull out a plum and everybody died. I like it. I'm rewriting a new thing. Take that, Aesop. I guess that wasn't a fable. Hold on. There was no fable about the pumpkin pie guy or the guy with the... who stuck a thumb in a pie? Tom Thumb? No, Tom Thumb's a small dude. Jack Horner sat in a corner eating his curds and whey. No, that's Mary... That's... what's her name? Little Miss Muffet. Sat on a tuffet. Little Jack Horner pulled out a pie. He stuck in his thumb and pulled out a plum and said, oh, what a good boy am I. Yeah, that's what it is. That's what I do. That's what I'll say. Oh, what a good boy am I. Oh, what a good podcaster am I. Give me a pie. You got a pie? My thumbs are plumless. I must have plums on my thumbs. My thumbs are far too plumless for this show. We've got apples. We got plums. This is a fruity show so far. I like it.
You don't like Peep.
Peep's not a fruit.
But Peep is fruity.
No, Peep is not. Peep is I think of sheep. I think of, again, that's another Aesop fable. It's like Bo Peep gathering all of her sheep into a flock. But then she lost her sheep. She was fucking terrible at it. How can I hire her as the deputy if she lost all her goddamn sheep? I'm trying to keep my flock in line. She loses all of her goddamn sheep. Deputy Peep, you are out. Out. She lost all their goddamn sheep. I'm trying to keep my sheep in all their purple velour and their Nikes, and then we'll all lay in bed and we'll die. We'll laugh and we'll die. I'm excited about this plan. Well, just pipe me in. We got to do that. We need a compound. We need like a Schmidt compound where all the people will tend gardens and and I get to have sex with like all the girls, right? Don't I get to do that? Isn't that part of the cult?
Sure.
That should be. What do you mean, sure? That's the way it works. These guys, that's the only reason they start a cult in the first place. They start a cult so they can have as many people as possible. They can bang all the girls, and then they'll hire like one good cook, and he makes good food. That's like the whole thing. It's like they trick guys into giving them good food and banging all their daughters. That's why. That's the whole reason to have a cult, and then to kill everybody in their bed, right? Although I haven't had Kool-Aid in years. I don't know if I'm qualified to have a cult. I haven't had Kool-Aid in years. You ever see those films, man, from Guyana, like The Aftermath and all the fucking dead people? Dude, that's creepy. If that shit happened today, Nancy Grace would never shut up about it. I mean, it's bad enough that she keeps stumbling into a blonde who missed her bus one day. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, fuck, Nancy, enough. I get it. But she's all, and so this gets me back to what I was going to say earlier. You know, this is what we need to do, folks. Here's what we, oh, no, I may have said this in one of the audios that we cut. I don't remember. Here's what I want from everybody, because I'm on Twitter. Did I mention that I'm on Twitter yet?
Yeah.
All right. But I think I mentioned that on a different one that we...
This is the one you said that you're on Twitter on.
I don't think so.
This is 3.
I think we whacked that one.
I think this is... Well, if not, he's on Twitter.
Folks, did you know that I'm on Twitter? I'm telling you now, and I will tell you later. Lily has no patience for me right now. It's hot outside, and Lily had to strip off her clothes, and she's wearing shorts now because she's all like weighted down by heat. And she's like, oh, I totally want ice cream. And I go, well, let's go get ice cream because I'm looking to do anything other than sit in front of a microphone and talk. And she's like, oh, I want ice cream, but I can't. I'll get sick. And I'm like, all right. She goes, you know what? I want a popsicle. And she opened her fridge, and she goes, ha-ha. And she pulled out a popsicle. She goes, oh, I don't like blue. She put it back in.
I know.
But you wanted a popsicle. You said you wanted to do something cold and a popsicle that would settle you down. And you pull it out and you go, I don't like blue. And you put it right back in the goddamn freezer. And if you don't like blue, how did blue make its way into your freezer?
Because the slushy pops are red and blue, and Eddie eats all the blue ones, and I eat all the red ones.
You are just nauseatingly cute. I like a couple that makes me want to vomit.
Me too. I don't like ice cream that makes me want to vomit.
What do you mean you don't?
No, it makes me want to vomit.
I'm on Twitter, and here's what we need to do, folks, because I like social media, and I like bringing things to the forefront. I don't know what that means. But I'm on Facebook, and I'm on MySpace, and I'm on flues.com, and I'm on Zoosk, and I'm on all of those amazing websites. I'm not on Reddit. I think I am. There's a page, but I stopped promoting it. I couldn't tell you the address if you fucking paid me. But I'm on Twitter. And here's what I want to do this week, folks. I want to start a hashtag for this show. You know how they do hashtags at shows now, like At Midnight does them at night, and everybody has a hashtag, and it's like, hey, man, let's all get on board with this hashtag. And by the way, before I even propose this idea, don't do it. All right, I'm just going to tell you that now, because like 5 of you will do it, and then I'll be like, yay, 5 of us did it. So don't even do it, but I'm just going to propose this anyway. We need a hashtag that says, pay me, Sajak. That's what it needs to say, because I don't know if you're aware of this. A scant, 5 months ago, actually 6 months ago, I was involved in a show called The Wheel of Fortune. And it did not go nearly as well as I wanted it to, but I had a good time while I was there, and I wound up bringing home a tidy sum of $4,800, which is great and exciting, and I'm thrilled to get it. However, they had until April 25th to pay me. They have 6 months from the time that I filmed it. So they're like, yeah, April 25th is the time when we have 6 months to get it to you, and then we'll pay you. And I said, oh, yeah, that's great. Fully expecting that I would have the money in like 3 weeks. And it's because I was spoiled by other experiences on other shows that I did. When I did Ultimate Fan League, I got a ton of the prizes within like a month. And then also the tickets to the World Series and the Super Bowl. I mean, I went to the Super Bowl like a month later. And then when I did Greed, I got a check in the mail for $10,000 in like 2 weeks. So I figured, well, you know what? These guys are going to pay me right away. Well, here we are, folks. April 10, I think. We are 15 days away from the deadline, and I can tell you that a tight-fisted, miserly Pat Sajak has not gotten his money belt from Vanna White, and they have not opened up the purse strings and given me my $4,800. So I don't need it, per se, but I want it. And now it's to the point where I keep going to the mailbox expecting it to be there. And then when it's not there, I'm actually kind of crestfallen and disappointed because for a while I was like, that would be cool if that showed up. And now I'm like, what the fuck, Sajak? Pay me, Sajak. Pay me, Sajak. Which I yell quite a bit at my apartment complex, and people are wondering why. So I was going to start a hashtag, but now I'm not even behind that idea now. Don't even start the hashtag. Pay me Sajak, yeah.
Totally, you should do that.
Well, no, because again, 5 people will do it, and I'll go, yeah, terrible. I have no outreach, so we don't have to do that, folks.
But you have to make sure that they all do it at the same time.
Nobody's gonna do it. People will hear this in weeks. Some dude just wrote me and he goes, "Dude, that Pearl Jam show was hysterical," and I'm like, "That was like 2 months ago. Awesome. I'm glad." And then our friend Dylan is a listener to the show, and he posted in the West Side 86 Jokers, "Hey, I haven't been able to listen to Mike for like 2 years. I don't know what's happening. Can somebody catch me up on his life?" Which made me laugh. But then even worse was like then Max and another dude are like, Mike is fun and then he's not fun and then he sucks and then he doesn't suck. Like literally that was what it was. And everybody's like, yeah, that's true. And honestly, when I read it, I was like, is that what it fucking boils down to? Like, because Max was like, Mike's good, Mike's bad, rinse and repeat. And then I was like, oh fuck, why am I even doing this then? Well, then why am I even doing it if that's literally. If it can be boiled down to 8 fucking words like that, then what's the point of doing anything? I guess really when you think about it, because it just and again I'm sure I'm looking at this incorrectly. And then underneath it, a guy said something like, Mike fucks up and then Mike is okay, and then Mike fucks up and then Mike's okay, and I'm just like, you know what? It's I feel like, and this will sound stupid, and I don't mean it to. Kurt Cobain, when he did did his album, and then people said it was Quiet Loud Quiet. Smells Like Teen Spirit, which was something that was basically invented by the Pixies. And they, he kind of took it from them, and it was just Quiet Loud Quiet. He didn't really steal it, but I mean, there was an influence on people and stuff, and I remember it drove him fucking crazy when people were like, "Oh yeah, Quiet Loud Quiet," like that was. Like they ignored his songwriting and they ignored the craftsmanship and they ignored the lyrics to just go, oh yeah, it's that Quiet Loud Quiet thing, and so that's why, I've done this for almost 7 years now, or 6 years, almost 6 years, and to have it just be Mike's good, Mike's bad, rinse repeat. You're just like, ooh, fuck, that stung, and it shouldn't have stung. It really shouldn't have, but it's just because I'm fucking crazy half the goddamn time that I looked at it. I was like, yeah, I mean, pretty much that's it. I mean, 8 words sums it up, I suppose, and. But I mean, why then why are any of us here? Why, you know what I mean? It just became this metaphysical question where I was like, well, then why do it if that's what the story is and what you can boil it down to? But I got to be honest with you, man. You could do that with everything I do. I mean, literally every story I tell you, I could tell it to you in a sentence. Really, when you really want to break it down, I could just tell you in one sentence what happened. Hey, I almost hit an old guy at a grocery store. But the thing is, I mean, maybe you'd want to hear more of that, or quite frankly, maybe you would not. Maybe you go, do me a favor, don't finish that story, could not care less about it. However, I'm going to take an hour to tell you about it. Because that's the whole point, right? It's storytelling. I'm supposed to tell you a story. There are stories, but they're not stories unless you fucking tell them. It got all metaphysical and weird in my head where I'm just like, well, fuck yeah, it could be boiled down to really 8 words and it could be boiled down to one sentence. But I mean, every show could be, I could be done with this show in 9 minutes a week. I mean, I really could. Where are we at now? Where are we at time-wise?
12 minutes and 32 seconds.
Of nothing. I mean, literally, I've talked to you about zero. I've covered nothing at all. We've gone with hashtags and bullshit, and oh, I wish that was the name of the show. That was Twitter's original title. Instead of twitter.com, it was hashtags and bullshit.com. But then they changed it up to Twitter. It was more concise, and they felt they'd get a lot more run if they didn't have an obscenity in the title. But by the way, who is it to judge what's obscene? Larry Flint? Certainly not. He'll tell you what's not obscene, right? Or actually, he'll tell you it's a lot obscene.
Oh, really?
I can't take a swipe at Larry. He and I are close. We're good friends. Karen went to apply for a job at Hustler once when she first moved here. It was like, because we were in that mode.
At the store or
at the store, yeah, no. At the casino.
Okay.
No, man.
There are 5 different ways you could work for Hustler in this town.
Well, there's a lot more than that, quite frankly.
Yeah.
There's a lot more than that. But yeah, no, she went to the Flint production. She had an interview at Flint. And yeah. And it wound up not paying off. Or she got something else before they even came through with an offer. I forget what it was. But I remember there was much trepidation about her going to do it because she was not certain about how her family would react and people like that and stuff. And but she didn't have a problem with it. Or at least she didn't then. I don't know if she does now. I don't know much about what she does now because she fucking ran away. And fucking boned me. All right, never mind. Yeah. Yeah. It's it's funny. You get divorced, and I know people who've been divorced, and they get that thing where they're like, oh my god, my ex, and I had to hate her in order to make it work, and I had to do these things. And I was like, hey man, everything's fine. It just didn't work out, and it was a cat's game. Literally, we played tic tac toe for 20 years, and we could neither one of us could win, and we wound up both losing, and that was fine. That's just the way it was, and and I was willing to accept that. And now, and what's funny? All the things that you would think, this is going to sound weird, because I don't want to go into this that much yet. I mean, there should be a series of signposts and a bunch of crazy shit that happens that leads to you getting a divorce. Whereas instead, the rug was just pulled out from under me and she fucking disappeared. And there was a bunch of shit going on and whatever the fuck, but I chose not to acknowledge it because I thought it was going to be okay and everything was fine. But now, over a year later, all of that ridiculous shit is happening that should have happened then. And I don't know what the fuck to do about it. I mean, I do. I'm just going to fucking end it. And I can't. Shut up.
You can talk about it.
I can't really.
Why?
Because there's no point. Because I don't want to make anybody a bad guy. There's no bad guy.
Okay, there's no bad guy here, but there's a jackass move being pulled.
Well, sure.
And jackass move does not mean, this person is a bad person. It means they did one fucking dickish move.
Yeah, but it's not, in the larger scheme of things, it's not that big a fucking deal. Yes, it is. It is. No, it is. It's terrible. It's not good. It's not terrible. Terrible's like the Holocaust. All right, hold on.
No,
Terrible when I would be.
horrific is the Holocaust. Terrible is what's happening right now.
Not terrible. Just it's unfortunate. That's what I'll say. I think it's unfortunate.
Unfortunate is getting a paper cut.
I have those as well.
I unfortunately got a paper cut. It's terrible to do what she's doing.
All right. She's not doing anything.
That's the problem.
Yeah, she's chosen to take her ball and go home, and
No, she's chosen to take your ball and go home.
she's taking all the balls pretty much.
She's in contempt of court.
Nah, we didn't go to court.
But you agreed in agreement. This will be done in that way.
I put it to you, Lily. I'm not going to talk about this. I don't know why you keep bringing it up.
Well, I will.
I'm sure. Apparently.
There's a legal agreement.
Man, it's been over a year, and I tried to be cool, and I'm being cool, and in my house, I still have a ton of her shit. Like, I mean, it's just like it won't go anywhere. Like, sell it for what? That's the thing, because then I'd have to fucking sell it. Like, I just wanted. Pay me, Sajak. You know what? Fucking pay me so I can throw some money at this fucking thing and make it go away. That's all I want to do. Literally, it's going to cost me, but I don't fucking care. I don't care at this point. Pay me so I can throw some fucking money at this and make it end. Make it fucking stop. We still have an IRS bill together. And I paid my half. I paid my share. I said, fuck it, I got it. Can you pay yours? And she's like, I can pay a certain amount. So she did. And then there's an outstanding amount that she has to pay. And I told her, I said, listen, I paid my half, so you're responsible for any late fees or any fucking penalties. This is on you because I paid my half. Cool? And she said, cool. And then out of the fucking blue, she fucking closed our joint bank account that's used to pay the fucking IRS. And didn't tell me. It took every dime out of it. And look, I had nothing in there. I would put, because here's what I would do. I would put money in the day before I had to pay the IRS bill. And then the next day I would pay the IRS bill with my share. That's what I did. I didn't keep any money in that account. And I think I told you guys, when this first happened, I tried to close it. When she bailed, she left and I went to close the account. And they wouldn't let me do it. They said, no, man, it's a spouse account. You both have to be here in person to close the account. And I said, that's fine. All right. And then I left it open because we had one mutual bill that we had to pay. And then I would contact her and tell her what was up. And it was a savings account and a checking account, whatever the fuck. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about any of this except me. So now it's the only account the IRS recognizes. It's the only account that they will accept payments from. I would have to re-enlist in the fucking payment program with a different bank account. And it doesn't make any sense to do that because it's in our name, so use our account so she can put her money in to pay her fucking half. And now, 2 weeks ago, I get an email that says there's no money left in the bank. So I send her a note, and I go, look, you probably, I don't know if I forwarded her the email, and I said, I don't know, you obviously know something about this. If you don't, somebody took all of the money out of the bank. But if you do know, then you understand that this is, you probably, because she's been using that account for her banking, which is fine. I don't care. I don't use it at all for anything except the IRS, and I haven't for over a year. So I never paid any fucking attention to it. So I get a note that says it's empty. I go to the fucking bank and it's empty. Savings and everything, it's gone. And granted, like I said, I might have had like $30 in there that was in play, but it was just there to cover because you had to transfer on the first. It transferred automatically money from savings to checking as a way to do shit, and it paid the fees because you pay a certain amount every month. So I just kept that in there to help pay the fees, whatever. But the bulk of the money was hers because she was using it as her bank account, which is fine. I didn't fucking touch it. So you know what's funny? I wanted to talk about this since the beginning, and now you can hear like I'm engaged. Like I don't think I was engaged earlier because I was fucking pissed because this is on my goddamn mind. But now that it's coming out, but now I feel awful because now this is real dirty laundry bullshit that I shouldn't be fucking talking about. It's just stupid. It's just stupid, right? It's just silly and foolish and just because the show's about my life. The show's about my life, but it shouldn't be about this. I mean, it just shouldn't be. You know, I mean, fuck. So So all the money's gone, and that's fine. I just figure she's going to put money in later and figure it out because I haven't talked to her in a month. I mean, she sent me a text that was like, "Hey, I'm going to go ahead with the IRS on my own," and then I said, "That's wonderful. You can't because the password to get into the IRS, I gave it all to her, but you need my social to pay the payment." Because my name is the lead name on the account. And she's like, well, could you do me a favor? Just email me your social security number. No, that's not happening. Not that I don't trust her with it, but I called her and I said, I will not email or text my social security number. If you'd like me to tell you it, call me and I will tell it to you and we can sign in together, whatever you need to do, because we have to pay this and that's fine. She never contacted me. And then I paid my half and she paid her part. And then she said, I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of it myself. And I said, you can't. You need my social and we need to use the bank account and all this. And she never replied. And then I called and she never replied. And I sent a text and she never replied. And I sent that email and she never replied. So then 2 weeks ago, I signed in because I got the IRS bill. So I texted her, I said, hey, the new bill is here. And so I signed in, but actually I didn't text her. Before I did, I went to the B of A to sign in and it wouldn't let me sign in. And it said the account was closed. Now, I don't know if I mentioned earlier, folks, I tried to close this account over a fucking year ago, and they told me I couldn't because both spouses had to approve of it being closed because it's a joint account in both of our fucking names. So that's on our good friends at Bank of America. So I fucking call them, and I get a guy, and I go, look, I'm going to tell you this right now. You should probably give me to a supervisor because I'm not happy. And he goes, well, sir, I can probably help you. Let's take care of it. And I said, great. Brace yourself. And I vomited all of this all over him. Numbers, and she did this, and I did that, and we're divorced, and da-da-da. And he's just like, oh, yeah, you're definitely going to have to talk to somebody else. Because, yes, I fucking told you that. He goes, please hold, I'll transfer you to someone who can help you. They transfer me. I'm on hold for like 8 minutes. Another guy comes on, and I go, hey. And he goes, yeah, hi, so how can I help you? I said, well, you know the situation? He goes, I don't. I said, great. Here's what happened. And then I projectile vomit numbers and rage all over him. Not rage, but I should tell you this. I don't abuse these people. I'm not angry at them. And I tell them specifically over and over, I'm not mad at you. I know you didn't do this, but it's your company that did. And unfortunately, you're the person on the phone with me right now, and you're the one having to get the brunt of it. And it's the same bullshit that happened with the flower people when I had to go, look, I know you didn't do this, but whatever. So the bank guy, and I tell them, I go, look, and here's what happened. Here's this, here's that. And he said, well, yeah, I'm looking at it, and it says that she closed it at a branch in Bolingbrook, Illinois. I said, great, why? He goes, well, I don't know. You'd have to ask her. And I go, no, I'd have to ask you because I was told specifically over a year ago that I cannot close this account unless my other spouse is with me, or my significant other or my spouse is with me because both of our names on the account. He goes, that's true. I go, great. Why did she close it? He goes, well, you'd have to ask her. You'd have to ask the branch in Bolingbrook. And I go, no, the branch in Bolingbrook is not an independent bank. Bank of America is responsible for this, so you guys are going to have to tell me why you let her close it if my name's on the account. Well, if she's the primary, she can close it. No, she can't because I tried to close it, and they told me I was the primary, and I still wasn't able to do it. There is no primary on this joint account. We are married, and both of our numbers are on it. I tried. Well, I'm going to have to give you to somebody else. Yes, you are. On hold for another 5 minutes. A new guy comes on. Hey, how can I help you? Well, you know the situation, don't you? I'm sorry, I don't. Okay. I apologize for this because it's going to sound harsher than I want it to. But I've already explained this to 2 other people, and having to explain it a 3rd time is unacceptable. But relax, sit back, and enjoy it. And I then I unloaded on him everything that had happened. And he goes, well, I'm showing that she definitely did close it. And I go, great, you can't close it without me. Well, you know what? You're not wrong. I'm not wrong. Finally, someone admits I'm not wrong. So what do I do? The money is, he goes, well, I'll be honest with you. He goes, I've been through a divorce. And so I sympathize with everything that you're going through right now. And I go, great, but that doesn't help me. I go, I appreciate your sympathy, but shouldn't have closed this account, right? And he goes, it doesn't look like we should have. And I go, but now it's closed and the money's gone. And this account is the only way for me to settle this account with the IRS. I have to have it open. What do I do? He goes, well, it's been closed. And I go, I understand that. And he goes, well, it looks like it might have been a temporary close. I go, what the fuck does that even mean? Who temporarily closes a bank account? She came in, she took the fucking money, and she closed it. The end. If you really want to get zen about it, every fucking bank account is temporarily closed when you take all the fucking money out of it. You know, should I fucking sit Indian style and sing Kumbaya with my fucking hands in the air? Because fuck. And he's like, sir, I understand. And I've been through this situation and it's no fun. I go, it is no fun. It is absolutely no fun. That is 2 words I would ascribe to this situation. No fun. I would ascribe to these phone calls. I would ascribe to these conversations. Absolutely the words no fun come into play quite a bit right now. Well, sir, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to give you to somebody else. Of course you are. On hold for another 5 minutes. And in the middle of all this, I think I was texting with Jill. She texted me, and then I wrote her. I go, I've been on hold with the bank for 45 minutes. And I said, I'll get back to you, or whatever. And so then the fourth person comes on. How can I help you? I said, well, are you aware of the situation? I'm sorry, I'm not. And I just went, motherfucker. And the person went, bad day on the phone with us, huh? And I went, yeah, bad day on the phone with you guys. You're the fourth person I'm explaining this to. And I then unloaded and had to explain everything again. And the resolution was, she said, I can reopen the account for you on the phone. She goes, you don't have to, but you can. I go, I have to have it open because the IRS bill is associated with this account and they won't recognize a payment from any other source. So go ahead and open it. I go, but how does that affect me? And she goes, well, there's no money in it. I go, I understand. She goes, we're going to have to put some money in it. I go, I get that, but I'm going out of town. I'm on a plane to Florida in a day or two, and so I'm not going to get to do it. But I also don't want to get dinged for fees. This makes no sense. I just want to fucking pay this and get it over with. She goes, well, you're going to get hit with the fees, but call us and I'll tell you what, we can probably waive those for you if it does happen. But hopefully it won't. Hopefully you'll get some money in there beforehand. I go, fine. And so then, of course, in my head, I'm just like, pay me, Sajak. Because if he fucking pays me, I'll just race against time. I'll throw the money in there, and then I'll fucking pay the bill, and just it'll be over with. It'll be over with. But in the meantime, I then called and texted her again, and I've not heard back. So she's just decided that she's done, which is fine. But I even said in my last email or my voicemail, and I was curt but nice, but I said, just tell me what's going on. If you've decided you're not going to pay the rest of the bill, that's fine. I just need to know because I don't want to double pay it. And if you just want to say fuck you, then say fuck you so I know what's happening. But silence is fucked because I have no clue. Because again, she may have called the IRS and arranged an alternate payment. I don't want to double pay the fucking thing. And I just don't know. I don't know what's happening. And that's the fucking thing. Being in the goddamn dark about it is ridiculous because it's been over a fucking year. And also, I got all your shit in my house. I've been good about that. I've been really good about that. I've been too fucking good about that because quite frankly, I should have burned that shit or thrown it the fuck out or given it to anybody who walked fucking by. There should be a goddamn hobo right now with my 2009 tax receipts sleeping on them. Some fucking rich guy should be skeet shooting your grandmother's fucking china. God damn it. But stupid me, I thought 20 years meant you might want the crock pot. Mother of God, get your shit out of my house. I understand you took the one thing you wanted out of the house more than anything, yourself, but there's a ton of other shit to get. No, it's not funny. It's not funny. It's not.
I've been angry once at her.
There's no reason to be because she bailed.
There were plenty of reasons.
Fuck that. I don't even want to get in. It's no point. All right, there's no reason.
You finally got a little of it out.
Well, I'm fucking mad now, man. It's like, don't fuck me again. You left once and left me holding the bag, and I had to fucking beg and borrow and get money from friends and do whatever I fucking could to stay afloat. And then thank God my brother came out of the fucking woodwork after 17 years and offered me a fucking job, or I'd still be fucking doomed. You know what? It'd be me sleeping on the tax fucking receipts. Thank God someone stepped up and helped me out. And I mean, by someone, I mean everyone. Everyone stepped up and fucking helped me out. And then I reached out to her, and she went through a tough time, and I was there for her even through that. And I said, listen, you can contact me and talk to me, and because I understand where she's at. And I mean, because you can't just fucking say 20 years is over. You try to be nice, you try to be friendly, and you try to go, because hey, she was my best friend for years, and I loved her. And then everything went to hell, and she bailed, and I understand it. And I was a terrible husband, and I own all that. I was bad at it. I know I was fucking bad at it, but don't fucking bend me over at the end here. I mean, you left, and so live your life, and you made your choice. So come and get your shit. And don't fuck me on the way out the door again. I mean, there's no reason. You already bailed once, and you did that, and you salvaged whatever you wanted out of it, and you rose from the wreckage like a phoenix, and now you're burning brightly. But just fucking understand that you still got other shit you got to deal with. It's not my fault that we're still tied together by this. And you know what's funny is I have to file my taxes this year, and we were married all through 2013 or 2000, whatever the fuck year it was, and it didn't finalize until like December 13th or the 17th. I forget. So I was like, well, I guess we're gonna have to joint file again because it makes sense. But fuck that now. Fuck that. Because I can't even get her to fucking pay 2012's taxes. So I'm going to fucking get into another joint relationship with her? That's not fucking happening. It's bad enough I've got to find a fucking... I've got her ironing board. You know what I mean? It's just so stupid. I've got a closet, a hall closet full of her stuff. But I should say this. I have a closet that's full of some of her stuff because the rest of her stuff is also in my bedroom and in my living room and in my kitchen. It's just there. So when I get fucking Sajak to get off his ass and send me a check, I already made the decision in my head. I go, this is what I'm doing. I'll pay the IRS bill myself. So then it's fucking over. I'm going to get a storage area. I'm going to pay for a storage area for 2 fucking months, and I'm going to put all of her shit in it. And I'm going to say, look, here it is. If you want it, take it. And if you don't, they can fucking give it to some guy with a beard on USA Network, whoever the fuck those guys are. I don't know who the fuck they are. But it's funny because people have said to me, dude, throw that shit out. Yep. I will not be the guy who threw his wife's stuff out. I won't. I won't do it. She doesn't deserve that. She does not deserve it. She left it behind and she's doing her thing and she's got her own shit going on and there's her own life and stuff's happening. But I will not be the guy who fucking I threw it away. I won't be that story. I won't. She doesn't deserve that. But I don't deserve this. Nope. Fuck! I wasn't going to talk about this. I really wasn't. But it's like all I can think about over the last fucking day. Because the bill's due tomorrow. Oh, and I tell you this. I got an email today. This is what triggered the whole fucking thing. I'm $12 in the red. They charged me my fees today. So I'm $12 in the red at B of A. So I've got to put in however much I need to pay for tomorrow's, because I can't pay the whole thing just yet because fucking Sajak. So I got to put a certain amount in to cover the fees and then to pay tomorrow's bill, because then if you don't pay that, it's just more late fees and more fucking penalties. And it's like, God damn it. What the fuck? It's just compiling. It's a goddamn snowball. And I'm Indiana Jones and I'm running the fuck away from it. That's a boulder. Fuck. So that's where my fucking head is at. I spent a week in fucking Florida, so I couldn't get to the goddamn bank. Like I shined it. For a week, I put everything on hold because I talked to them before I split. And they were like, oh, we'll keep it open. And I said, great, but I can't get any fucking money into it for a fucking week because my mom's having cancer surgery and I got to be out in Florida with that. And God damn it. And nobody cares. You guys have your life. Everybody's got their hard shit going on. Their kids are going through this, or your job sucks, or you're not happy. And we're all that way. We're all that way. I just happen to have a fucking forum where I go ahead and bark it at you, and whether you like it or not, I don't know. I don't know how to fucking interpret it. Some of you do, some of you don't. So if you want to know what's been going on with my life, Dylan, go ahead and listen to that. Mike bad, Mike good, rinse and fucking repeat. You're listening to The 40-Year-Old Boy, and later, who would win in a fight? A skirmish about skirmishes. I cannot believe we spent 15 minutes on Chef Boyardee versus the kids from Glee.
Oh, I know.
I mean, that's what the show's about, but still didn't get an answer.
Nope.
Speed round, steam versus smoke.
Smoke.
Steam. Winner. All right, who do you got?
Movie battles. Here's one. Rocky Balboa.
Okay.
Versus John Rambo.
Oh, yeah. Little Stallone two-way dance.
Yeah.
Nice. I'm going to take John Rambo.
Really?
Yeah. John, I say you judge a guy by the quality of his enemies, and John Rambo killed, I think, Vietnam. He killed them all.
Rocky beat Spider Rico.
I rest my case. John Rambo in a walk. All right, I'm going to go with this one. Your mom pregnant with you versus my mom pregnant with me. Tall tales and a tale of the tape on who would win in a fight on the Mike Schmidt Podcasting Network.
Which trimester?
Does anyone want to buy a coffee pot? I have some cookie sheets that I don't think I'm ever going to use. There's a hutch. I don't even know what a fucking hutch is, but I've got one. Who wants it? We should just whack. It just seems like now I feel awful.
I think we should just have a yard sale at your place.
If I had a yard, I might.
You can have a yard sale there in the corner.
Yeah, I put my bedbug mattress out there. I'm sure there's some still lurking. There's bedbugs by that.
You have a garage sale at your house.
Yeah.
Sale at your house.
We're just putting in a storage area. I can't fucking deal with it. You know, what am I going to sell?
At this point, it's abandoned property, and you can sell it and use it to pay the bill.
You know what? I'll tell you this, too. This is interesting. I went looking for something the other day, and she took it. There was a vacuum cleaner. Like, we had a fancy... You and David bought us a fancy vacuum cleaner, and I went to grab it, and it's gone. And I was like, she must have snuck that out the day that she came in and took like 3 CDs and a vacuum cleaner. Maybe I even talked about it then, because I don't remember her taking it. And I went to find it, and then because I was going to vacuum my house. Yes, folks, I was going to vacuum my house. And it was gone. And so I was like, dude, that just seems like such an odd get. You know what I mean? Because although it was like a $400 vacuum cleaner, and I still don't know why you guys got that for us. It was really sweet of you, but it was like, Jesus Christ. I mean, just it was too much gift.
About the vacuum one day, and one of the best gifts I'd ever gotten from an ex-boyfriend was a vacuum because I was borrowing my sister's. And I said to David, wouldn't it be cool if we bought them a vacuum? And he goes, only if we can buy them the one like we have that's the blah, blah. And I was like, that's expensive, but that's an awesome gift. So we bought you a vacuum.
It was, but Jesus, was it expensive? It was a lot of vacuum. That was a ton of vacuum.
But it outlasted both our marriages.
Yes, it did. We got to call the Bissell people and go ahead and give them a testimonial.
Seriously, that's fucking hysterical.
Such a good vacuum. Probably still going strong now. As she vacuums up every bank account statement that she's torn up and thrown on the ground. Every notice that tells her there's an overdraft, she rips it up and throws it down and vacuums it up with my fucking vacuum cleaner.
Oh my God.
I just, and I don't even, because I tried to get a hold of her. Like, I mean, I tried on voicemail, I've tried on text, and it's clear that she's ignoring me, obviously. Because she's active, she's active on Twitter. Like, I actually thought about writing her on Twitter. There you go. Let's make that a hashtag. Karen, call Mike. Baby Sajak, Karen, call Mike. This is awful. But I actually went to find her on Twitter, and I saw it because it was the day I had called and emailed, and I was like, I wonder if she's even, yeah, dude, she was all day active. And I'm like, God damn it. So now I know you're just fucking ignoring me. Now I know you're just telling me to get fucked. And it's so, you know what? This will sound stupid because I'm sure everyone out there just went, hey, she's fucking you. And she's doing it on purpose. But I refuse to see that. Like I just want her to tell me, you got to tell me that you're just saying fuck you. Well, no, she doesn't. Her actions have clearly said fuck you, like everything that she's decided to do. But also she had a thing going on where she might be tied up with that, but you don't ignore me for a month, right? Why do I try to excuse away that sort of behavior? Why do I try to be like, I try to always be nice and try to go, you know what? Maybe that person's just got a lot of stuff going on, but in reality, because, I don't fucking return voicemails right away and I don't return emails right away. And so, but texts are, I don't fucking know. Who knows? I don't know. All I know is I got a house full of stuff that I don't fucking want or need. And I'm just going to hire some dudes from fucking Home Depot to drop it into a goddamn storage area and get it out of my goddamn hair. Because I don't even, I don't know. I don't know what to do with it. And I couldn't sell it anyway. What the fuck would I do?
Throw it away or sell it. That's what you get to do. It's abandoned at this point.
But there are things that are personal to her.
It doesn't matter. Throw it away or sell it. It's abandoned at this point.
Yeah, I know. Because it even says that in our divorce papers.
Yeah.
It says, what do you want? It said nothing.
Yes.
Like she literally, she decided she wanted nothing. And again,
It also says, what are you going to pay? The rest of that bill.
Yeah, I think.
So sell her shit and pay the bill.
I don't, no, because it's more personal stuff. That who the fuck wants her grandma's china? Who the fuck wants her paintings? Who the fuck wants that stuff?
The china pattern. Somebody may go, this china's worth $300. Sell
Don't say that. Then she's gonna come pick it up.
No, she won't. She's already abandoned it. She can't have it back.
She can have whatever she wants. That's horseshit. She can't have whatever she wants, right? I gotta stop having that attitude. I gotta stop being
She's gone. You owe her.
Well, I know she's gone, and I know I owe her nothing, but I'm trying to be nice about it. I'm trying to be a good person.
You kept it for.
I've been a good person for a fucking year. Yeah, over a year, right? Right? I should just burn the shit out of it. I should just have a fucking like a bonfire and fucking torch it.
Let's set another dumpster on fire with.
Oh my God, let's do it. Well, we'd have to get 2 more dumpsters then because it's fucking. We got a ton of shit there. And I keep saying it's like I'm gonna make the house mine. I'm gonna make the place my own, and I tried to a certain extent, but and then there's stuff I just want to get rid. Like, dude, I felt awful because there was stuff on TiVo that was hers.
Oh God, you're insane.
I'm not even joking. And it's just that thing where you just go because I feel bad. I know, but I feel badly about it. And she's never getting it. Like I wanted to give her the TiVo box and go there. All your shows, keep it. You know what I mean? It's like. There's not even any sort of touchstone of like, oh, I hope she comes. I don't give a fuck. I don't care if I ever fucking see her again. I could I'll walk out and go, escort her in and let her take whatever the fuck is in a pile in the middle of the room and that's hers. Then that's it. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't care. I don't fucking care anymore. I just want resolution. I just want it fucking changed.
You have it. The number you've reached.
I've tried. Yeah, I know. I've tried not to get mad. I really have. I've tried to be benevolent because because for 20 years I was shitty and I made all decisions that were selfish for me. And so now I've decided to wear the yoke of shame and go, well, if she wants to leave her stuff here, I guess she can. And well, I guess I got to deal with that. And well, I kind of earned this, but fuck that. I didn't earn this. I didn't earn any of this shit. She left. And when she left, it fucking changed. So I should have fucking realized it then. And I did when she came to get her, I told her to get her stuff. And then she came with a fucking cop escort and all the other bullshit that happened. And it's just like, dude, so that's fine. Come with the cops, but get your fucking stuff. Tell the cops to help you carry this shit out of here, God damn it. Don't come in and Myrna's chair in my apartment to fucking death. I don't want that. Just take your stuff. My chair, Myrna's chair, my fork, Myrna's fork. Fuck that. Take your wine rack and all your bullshit wine and your fucking paintings and your goddamn lamp and your fucking hutch and all this clothing. God damn it. I told you there's a storage area in my carport. I don't know what the fuck's in it. I'm not even going to open it. I don't give a fuck. When I move, here you go. Mystery. Enjoy it. I don't know what's in it.
I want to look.
No. There's spiders and memories. Keep them all. Honestly, at this point, I'd rather pack the spiders. Fuck. It's just so frustrating because I didn't see it coming in a fucking car wreck. I didn't see it happen. I just thought because it was going smooth and I was trying to be nice and do all that and I just it's fucking God damn it. And I'm not going to be mean. I'm just going to be like, hey, get your stuff. That's it. Take it. It's yours.
You've done that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. And you're not the first or only person to tell me that.
Do we have to do an intervention? Do a bunch of us have to meet at the house and just carry it out to the dumpster?
That would be fine. Yeah, I was going to say, don't give me an intervention. Just intervention from my apartment and take all the shit away. That's fine. Let's have that. Like whenever you ever heard the term spousal unit,
Yes.
We'll call it a spousal removal unit. You guys, SRU, it'll be Law and Order SRU. It'll be spousal removal unit. You guys will just come in and fucking clean the joint out.
Why don't you call one of those crime cleaning units and have them come in and disinfect the entire apartment from the whole bloodbath?
Do you know how long it's going to take to clean up after a 20-year murder? That shit's in the walls. That shit is in the walls. I don't know. I got no idea.
Holy shit.
And I don't. And I feel terrible. I'm not holding her up for sport. I'm not trying to be a bad person here. I'm just.
Done.
I am. I'm just fucking finished. She was finished, and walked the fuck out. Well, I can't walk the fuck out from this stuff. And I don't. Yes, I could throw it away. I know.
Walk it out.
Yes, I could and should. I will walk it out. But I'm gonna. And it's funny. I tell people that I'm gonna put it in storage, and you can hear them shake their heads and just cluck their tongues. But I refuse to be that guy. That just seems like such a fucking terrible thing to do. A terrible thing to do. And it would validate that I was a bad person if I did that. That's how I feel in my head. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying that that's how I feel. I don't like I said, it's not even something like, well, if I'm a white knight and I save her stuff and then she'll like me again. I don't give a fuck if she likes me again. I feel terrible about what happened, and I feel that I stole her life, and I know I said all those things. And I hope that she's found some happiness and she's moved forward without me, and I'm sure she has, because I was nothing but a goddamn anchor around her neck, and good for her to take the initiative and to go. But you got to take everything else with you. I know your initial instinct was to just run free and get away from the fire, but sometimes you got to go back and save the cats. You know what I should do? I should just fucking get a Kickstarter going, and one of the tiers, the reward tier, should be something from Karen.
Everything from Karen.
Well, I mean, there'll be a tier, like if you give a certain amount, you'll get, because remember I gave away mystery CDs last time? This time it'll be some mystery thing from Karen. You'll just get it in the mail. You don't know what the fuck it is. It could be, one of her high school, because I still get her fucking alumni high school newspaper in the goddamn mail. It's like the one thing that didn't change addresses. I don't get it. I don't know why, but it just shows up. And she was a church person here, and so she signed up with some church, and they keep sending me shit like the raffle tickets and nonsense, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm happy throwing this away. Sorry, Jesus. I'm sorry. The person who believed in this ghost story doesn't live here any longer. All right. So I'm back in town, folks. I'm back in California, and this is a normal record because we're on a Wednesday. Last week I recorded on a Friday, and you heard it on Thursday, which is weird. I don't like doing that. I don't like doing any of that. But I was gone. It could not be helped. I was in Florida. I went to see my ma, and she had her surgery on Monday, and I flew on Tuesday, which was kind of hard. Because I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what was going to happen, and my mom and my stepdad they were telling me things, but it just felt like, I think I told you, my mom panicked, and she kind of flipped a little bit, and then she just like, I just want it out of me, so I couldn't get any real details from her about what was going to happen. I knew it was going to be a lobectomy, and I actually thought they had to crack her sternum and to get inside and do all the surgery and stuff. So I would ask for details, and all she would say, she kept repeating the same thing over and over, where they kept telling her, this is the best cancer you can have. And she would just be like, get fucked, the best cancer I can have. Like, she didn't want to hear that phrase ever again in her life. She's just like, get it out of me, get it out of me, get it out of me. Well, it's really, leaving it in another week isn't going to do anything. Yeah, bullshit. It's not in your fucking chest. Get it out of me. Like, my mom was pissed. And like I said, my mom's a roughhouser. She doesn't fuck around. So she's like, eventually, she was just going to get a blowtorch and burn it the fuck out of her own chest if they weren't going to take it out, because she was that crazy about it. She can be lucid, and she can be talked to. I mean, she's a good patient. She will listen to a doctor until they're not saying what she wants them to say, and then she can lose her fucking mind about it. So she finally scheduled the surgery. I bought the plane ticket, and she wanted me to come to town before she got her surgery because she wanted to see me, and I understood that, but then it just so happened that her surgery collided with the trip, and it was the day before I arrived. So I didn't know what to expect. So I was flying on a red-eye. Not a red eye, I apologize. Monday I had to myself. I didn't have to work, but I had to run errands and do a ton of shit before I left town because I was leaving super early on Tuesday morning. So Monday I had to go to the gym at 6:45 a.m. In order to meet my trainer. And I brought my phone to the gym. I forget why. I for some reason I grabbed it. I never bring it. But I grabbed it, and right when I pulled up at the parking lot at the gym, my phone rang, and it was my stepdad. Now, this is at 6:45 in the morning, which is 9:45 by them, and he told me he wasn't sure what time she'd be seen or what time the surgery would be. So I was waiting to hear, but I did not think it would be that early. So I thought he was just calling to tell me that something got postponed. I answered the phone, and he sounded terrible. I mean, he just sounded haggard and worn down. But it was 9:45 a.m. by them, and he told me, he goes, hey, I just want to call you to tell you that everything went great. And I said, what does that even mean? I don't even know what that means. And he goes, well, they were able to do the robot surgery, which, honestly made me think of the guy from Chappelle's Show who does the robot and he goes through the fucking scene. Like literally, I don't know why I thought that, but I thought of like Michael Jackson in there with doing the fucking robot and the Jackson 5 in sequence. Like that's where my head went immediately because when I hear the robot surgery, I thought it was like beep bop blorp, or the fucking Lost in Space robot came in and then Dr. Smith was there. And the funny thing was her doctor is named Dr. Smith. And I was like, well then, I guess it was the robot from Lost in Space. But what he meant, they got to do the lasers. They didn't have to cut her. They were able to make the two small incisions and go in with the mechanical thing and make the cut that way. And he's like, yeah, so she's done. She's in intensive care. I said, so what did they take lymph nodes and everything? He goes, yeah. He goes, they did the lobectomy. They cut it out. They cut out the part of her lung that it was in, and they got lymph nodes, and now they're going to analyze those, and we're going to see what happens. So it almost seemed anticlimactic. Like I wasn't even expecting the call that early. I expected to be waiting all day to hear, but then all of a sudden I hear that she's fine and everything's done. She's out, of course. She's still under sedation, but she's good. And I thought, well, that's fucking great. That's great news. I said, well, I'll be there tomorrow. He said, great, that's fine, and you can come in and see her. And I go, well, I won't see her tomorrow because I'm getting there late. Because the way it worked was I had to fly, with the 3-hour time difference and everything, and then layovers. I wasn't getting to town until 5, and then Jill was coming to town with me because I wanted her to meet my mom. And I asked her if she would make the trip. She said yes. So she was meeting me. She was flying in from her place. And I was going to fly to her and then we would fly together, but fucking plane tickets went up. I mean, it just wouldn't work. So I got to town at like 5 and then she wasn't getting to town until like 7:30. And then I was going to meet her at the airport and we decided, you know what, we'll just stay up near Tampa before heading down to where my mom is. So Monday went by and I ran my errands, I did my things, and then our good friend of the show, Erica, picked me up to take me to the airport. Now, she was taking me at 4:30 in the morning, which I could not understand why she would do it. But every time she's been dropping me off and picking me up from the airport. And every time I offer her gas money or whatever, and she's always like, this is my donation to the show. I listen to the show and I want to help you out, and I'm happy to do it. But dude, this show's not good enough for you to get up at fucking 3 in the morning and take me to the goddamn airports. I got to be honest. I need to step my game up during something like that. But good for her. She's willing to do it, and good for me that she's willing to be able to come to my house. Good. I appreciate it. And then she brings her son. She always brings her son and I think her nephew. I don't know if it's her nephew or not. I don't know who Christian is, but he's a good guy. But I don't even know why they're in the car. Like Eric's nice. Eric just sits in the back and like tells her where to drive. Dude, it's crazy. I won't lie. Erica doesn't know where anything is. So Eric just sits in the back with like Waze on his phone and he goes, go left, go right, now. And he's like yelling, he's barking orders. It's like, hey, Goebbels, we'll get there. I promise. But it cracks me up. So they're very nice and they pick me up. So, and I didn't sleep. I should tell you, I didn't sleep all day Monday. I got up to go to the gym. Like I said, I was in the gym by 6:45, and then I refused to sleep. And then I was texting with Jill, and actually, I will tell you this. We were texting, and then at like 2 in the morning, I put my head down on the desk. Or at like 1:30 in the morning, and all of a sudden, the phone buzzed, and it was a thing from Jill, and I looked at it, and I'd been asleep for like an hour. And I didn't even know, and I still wasn't packed. And I was like, oh my God, what are you doing? So I texted, I go, thank you for waking me up, because I would have missed everything. And she didn't sleep either. She had to work a fucking long shift. Dude, it was a mess. So that was one of the reasons why I didn't want to sleep. I wanted to be in solidarity with her. And just, you know what? Just sleep when you get a chance, folks. That's okay. It's okay to sleep. I don't know how Jill does it, because again, she's a superhuman. I'm not. But she doesn't have to sleep. It's the weirdest thing in the world. She does not have, she gets really tired, but then she doesn't have to sleep. She should sleep. She just doesn't have to. So Erica comes to get me in the morning, and I pack, and I get on the plane, and I went out like a goddamn light. I flew from LA to Miami, and then from Miami to Tampa. So I get on the plane, and I put my earbuds in, and I go out. And I'm in an exit row, I'll tell you this. I fall asleep right when I get on the plane. We haven't even taken off yet. They wake me up because they have to give me the exit row speech. And the reason I switched my seat, because I wasn't in an exit row initially, but I switched because there was nobody in the middle seat. So I wanted to make sure there was nobody next to me for the entire flight to Miami. And it turned out that nobody did. Nobody sat next to me. So they gave me the speech. When I woke up, there was an old lady in my row. She was in the aisle seat. And they gave her the exit row speech, and she just nods, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm fine." And in my head, I'm like, "You are absolutely not fucking fine. I mean, if something happens to me, this plane is dead because you will never be able to open the goddamn door." But I didn't say that. Good for her. So then she looks at me and she starts talking to me. "Well, where are you going?" "Well, I'm going to Miami. We're all going to Miami. That's the plane." And I still have my earbuds in and they're playing, so I have to take one out to listen to her. She goes, "Where are you going?" And I said, "Well, I'm going to Miami. This plane is going to Miami." "You're going to Miami, right?" She goes, "I think I'm going to Miami." I said, "Well, I hope you're going to Miami because this plane is going to Miami." And she goes, "Oh, okay." And all it took was those words, like that little interaction, for me to realize she's not all there. She might be a little bananas, this old lady. Which is fine, good for her. I don't care. I'm going to be asleep. So I put my earbuds back in and I go back to sleep. I close my eyes. And I feel the plane start to taxi and I start to nod off. And then I feel someone touching my arm. And I wonder if I'm dreaming. I'm not even going to look, but someone's poking me in the arm. And so I look and I open my eyes and it's the old lady. And she's pushing me, like tapping me, but pushing me on the arm. So I take out the left earbud, and I look at her and I go, "Hi, can I help you?" And she goes, "Are you sleeping?" I said, I'm about to be sleeping." She goes, "Oh." She goes, "Well, I wanted to talk to you while we take off." I said, "Yeah, I'm probably not going to do that. I didn't sleep all night, so I'm just going to go to sleep. Are you okay? I mean, I can get a stewardess to help you." She goes, "No, it's okay. I just like to talk." I said, I kind of don't. I said, "I don't mean to be mean, but I'm going to go to sleep." She goes, "Okay. Well, if you want to talk, I'm going to be here all flight." And I'm like, "All right." And again, I wanted to go, "Of course you are. Where are you going to go? Out on the wing? I mean, where the fuck are you going to go?" So I said, "Okay." So I put my earbud back in. I go to sleep. And I sleep through takeoff, and I know we're in the air. And I feel her again, touching my arm, pulling my shirt, like, and kind of pushing me. And I refuse to open my eyes because I know that and I hate to say this, again, she wasn't all there. And like a child, if you talk to her, if I keep paying attention to her, she's going to just keep fucking doing it. So she keeps touching my arm, keeps pushing me, and I won't even open my eyes. Then she finally stops. Then I feel it again. And again, I don't know the passage of time because I'm asleep. And then I'm waking up out of a dead sleep to feel my entire body like fucking moving as she's touching my arm or pulling on my shirt because I have my hoodie on. And I refuse to acknowledge her again. So then finally I go back to sleep. Plane's dark because it's morning, it's still, the sun hasn't come up. And then I feel it again. I feel like poking, and this time, like, it's weird. She's poking me all over my arm, like, and then in my side, like, not past my arm, into my ribs. So I'm not going to do really well with that. So I literally open my eyes, I take my earbud off, and I turn around and I go, "What?" And there's a dog in the seat next to me. And it's nosing me in the arm and in the ribs. It's poking and climbing up on me and poking its nose into me and sniffing me. And the old lady is clapping with delight. She's like, "Oh, oh, oh." And people are paying attention to what's going on in my row. And I was like, "What?" And everybody kind of like freaked out and looked at me. And then I realized there's like the poodle dog. It's a service dog for someone on the plane. And the old woman saw it and wanted to play with it, and they said okay, and they gave it to her. So she's been playing with it.
You're not allowed to take dogs out on a plane.
It's out. It's fucking out, and it's in the seat next to me. And even the stewardess is looking at it and they're like, "Oh, cute, like so cute," because it's got the yellow little. It's wearing clothes, which is good. All right, I will tell you this. I like the fact that he's wearing clothes.
Oh no.
He's got a little vest on. He's Natalie attired. Good for him. And it also says his job because he's a service dog. I think it was yellow with black on it, And so she's like delighted by it as it's climbing on me and wagging its tail and it's poking me. It's a little poodle dog. And everybody's looking and they're all kind of smiling. And I'm fucking furious because it woke me out of a goddamn dead sleep. Dog, a dog. I thought it was an old lady. I don't know if it was the dog who was fucking poking me the entire goddamn time. I have no idea. All I know is I just yelled at everybody, what? Oh, everyone's having fun watching a poodle frolic in the middle seat. And so I just look and I'm frozen and everybody looked at me and I just put my earbud back in and I turned around and went back to sleep. Because I couldn't, what am I going to do? Yell again? And I went to sleep and I felt the dog like jumping on, like not jumping on me, but kind of like his paws were on me and I drifted off. I didn't fucking care. I went to sleep. The old lady didn't bother me again, thankfully. I woke up, when we were descending and stuff, and then she'd start talking to me, and I'd take my earbud out, and she goes, "Are you okay? Did you want, the stewardess was coming by. I just want to let you know." And I don't care. I don't care. Don't care. Any room in that dog carrier for you? Flying that fucking suitcase with the dog. So finally we land in Miami, and I have a 2-hour layover, 2.5 hour, I think. I will say this: Miami smelled like hamburgers. I don't know why. It just their airport really smelled like hamburgers. Even though I couldn't find a hamburger joint to save my life. There was a Mexican joint, but that was it. But I walked to the airport and it was like a 2.5 hour layover, and I texted. I just literally sat there. You're just waiting for the plane. I'm a zombie. And I didn't want to sleep because you never know if you're gonna miss it. Whatever. And then the flight from Miami to Tampa was 30 minutes or 39 minutes in the air. So I hopped in the plane and I just fucking crashed. Even though I was getting excited, I will tell you that I was getting excited because I knew I was going to see Jill in Florida. So I landed in Tampa, and then I had another 2 hours or so until Jill's plane came in. 2.5 hours. So when you get to Tampa, the weird thing is I landed, and then it said I had to... They have a SkyTram or something like the series of trains. But that's the thing is there's a series of trains for the C and D gate or the A and B gate and the E and F gate. They all have their own tram, but it's not like it goes miles. I mean, it might go a quarter of a mile, you know what I mean? Which you could easily walk, but I mean, good for them for building an airport where all their modern conveniences and they drive you around in these fucking trains. But it just was so silly to me that I got on a train and I was on the train for a minute and a half, and then I was where I needed to be, and then it just went back to get more people. It wasn't like there was a circuitous route. Every one of them had their own separate train that drives a minute and a half. It was crazy, and I remember thinking while I was on it, going, "This is like the greatest example of graft I've ever seen." Just local politicians who tricked them into going, yeah, you know what? We need a series of monorails to take people to certain gates. It just, Lionel Hutz came to town and pitched them on that fucking idea. Crazy. So, but I don't mind it. If you want to fucking drive me, go ahead. So I get there and here was the thing. I had to rent a car, and I was going to wait for Jill, but I wasn't sure how airports, because in LAX, I'm flying American, she's flying Southwest. I'm going to have to leave the American terminal and get all the way over to the Southwest terminal. And I still had to rent a car, but I wanted to make sure we could leave right when she got off the plane because I just wanted to get my day underway. And I'd been traveling, she's been traveling. So I've said to myself, you know what I can do? I can probably go get the rental car during the 2 hours that I'm waiting for her to arrive. But I also don't want them to make me have to leave, because I thought if I had to rent the car, they would make me drive off the premises, come back and park in parking, and then pick her up at the terminal. I didn't know how it fucking worked. So I went to get the car. I waited in line at National. And I'll tell you this, I had my earbuds in. And I must be weird. That's the name of the show. Because I like music, and I don't mind dancing to music. And I mean, I'm not dancing like a psychopath, but I'll be in you get your head going, your shoulders going, and because I'm just, otherwise you're just standing there like everybody else. And I will say this too, you may hate him, you may love him, you may be indifferent to him, and I certainly got to say I don't care at all for his recent work. But I got to say, pound for pound, song for song, note for note, there's very little I enjoy more than certain Rod Stewart songs. Stewart songs. Because because every picture tells a story is the fucking greatest. But the one that came on while I was waiting to get the car was a song called Gasoline Alley. And dude, because I mean, look, it's got like an acoustic guitar, 2 electric guitars, and a mandolin, all just colliding, all working at once. And then his vocal is very sing-songy, da 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 da, and da 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 da. And I can't give it away, but the best part is in the chorus. He says going home, and running home, and the punching of the syllables and going home and running home. It's just the joy in it is so fucking great. So I kept rewinding it and listening to it, and it was just it was so good. And I caught old people looking at me as because I didn't and I don't care. I don't fucking care. But they were even pointing at me and like kind of laughing and stuff. And I didn't give a shit. Who cares? I'm in line for a fucking rental car. I'm supposed to look miserable like the rest of you motherfuckers? Fuck that. So I get to the front, and the woman was very nice and at National Rent-A-Car. And she told me I can go outside and pick what I wanted because I had a standard car. And I will tell you this, I rented the car, and Jill just bought a new car. And when I rented the car, it told me you will get a car that is like this or something comparable. Well, the car we were going to rent was her car. And it made me laugh because she's only had her car for a couple of weeks. And I wanted her to go, to show up and be like, really? You've got this? It was such a weird coincidence. But then I got outside to start looking for the car, and they had a couple of them. But then I went to the lady in the booth. This is a young girl. And I said, hi, I don't know what I'm supposed to look for. Am I supposed to give you paperwork? And she goes, well, I don't know. What are you looking for? I said, I think I got a standard size, but she goes, well, we have those. What are you looking for? I go, well, what do you have? She goes, well, let's take a look. She was super cool. She comes out. Her name was Tamisha. And Tamisha and I walked up and down Alamo and Enterprise and National looking for just the right car. Because I said, hey, you know what? I rented this, but my girlfriend just bought it. She goes, you can't take your girlfriend around in her own car? I said, are you serious to me? She goes, absolutely. She goes, we'll find you something better. So they had like a Kia Sportage, and then they had the a Hyundai, whatever the fuck, Sonata maybe. Or no, it was the Elantra, because I drove the Sonata, which I really liked. They had a Ford Fusion. And then they had a couple of SUVs, and I go, well, I don't like these SUVs so much because they were by Jeep, and I'm not. And then I said to Tamisha, I go, well, aren't these kind of out of my range? And she goes, we're not that busy. It's a Tuesday, so you can pretty much take whatever you want. You're not supposed to. And I said, what do I have to give you to let me take one of these cars, Tamisha? She goes, Starbucks. I said, really? That's your bribe? Starbucks? What do you want? She goes, I don't know, a white chocolate latte, and that'll do. I go, you want a brownie? She goes, you would get me a brownie? I go, does it get me a better car? She goes, it'll get you whatever you want. I go, brownie. So I said, you know what? I need satellite radio because I'm going to have the car for a week, and I'll be driving to and from Tampa and a bunch of different places. She goes, we don't have a lot of stuff with satellite radio. I go, well, I'll tell you what. Here's what we're going to do. I don't want to have to take the car right now. I want to stay here and pick up my girlfriend when she gets off the plane. So please don't make me hop into a car and drive off. I will go get you Starbucks if you will keep an eye out for a good car for me, and I'll be back in a couple hours and we'll drive off in it. She goes, that sounds like a deal. I said, you want your Starbucks now or you want it later? She goes, I want it now. I said, good call, Tamisha. That's a solid negotiating ploy. Get your stuff up front. She said, you want to leave your suitcase here? I go, I don't know, Tamisha. We're friends and all that, but I don't know if I'm comfortable with you rifling around through my bag. And she goes, I would never do that. I go, I know, Tamisha, I'm having fun. I said, but here's what I need. I need a car that has a decent engine and a little zip, and it's got to have satellite radio. That's the most important thing is the satellite radio. And it's got to look cool. It needs to look cool. She goes, all right, I'll keep an eye out for it. So I split, went upstairs. I went right to Starbucks. I got her stuff, and I came downstairs, and she looked at me with wide eyes. She goes, I didn't think you were coming back. I said, why wouldn't I? I got to pick up my car, and I got to bring you your bribe. She goes, yeah, but I didn't think you'd be bringing it right back. You're so fat. I go, just, you know what? Take it. She goes, you know, you're a lifesaver. She goes, I got her at 9:30 this morning. I'm here to 1:30 a.m.
Whoa. Is that legal?
That's like, I know, it's like 17 hours. She goes, that's a double. I go, that's not a double. That's like a triple. That's like, you're working a triple shift. She goes, well, that's how they got it. I go, well, dude, if you need another coffee, let me know. And I gave her stuff, and I took off. And I went to meet Jill. And I just, now I can't wait. I've killed as much time as I possibly can, but I'm just waiting for her to show up. And I have an app. She got the app first. She showed it to me. It's an app where you can put in a flight number and follow the plane. So she would do that, and she would follow, and she knew where I was at all times in the sky and what time I was due and all that stuff. So I said, well, fuck it, I have to get it too. So I was following her plane. And I saw that it landed, and I wanted to greet her at the gate. And I like to, you know me, folks, I like to be involved. So I texted her. I'm like, all right, you got to walk down to the shuttle, and you got to get on there, and it's going to take a minute and a half. Then you're going to walk off, and you're going to just follow the flow of people. I'm just telling her because I'm so excited. I'm involving myself, and it's ridiculous. So then she gets off the shuttle, and I see her. I had just texted her, and so she's looking down at her phone, so she doesn't see me. Dude, I just wanted to stand there and look at her. God damn it, she's amazing. All right, so, and I see her, and I pick her up, and I hold her. Because I haven't seen her in a fucking month. And I said, wait till you meet Tamisha. She's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I go, that's fine. So we go downstairs, and Tamisha's there, and I wound up taking the Ford Fusion because it had satellite radio, and it was kind of cool looking. It wasn't bad. And it had a V6, so that's all. Again, I just needed zip and satellite radio. And Jill and I get in the car, and we're staying in Clearwater, which is about 25 miles from Tampa, 30 miles from Tampa, and we got to go over a bridge. And Jill's been on this ride before, I have not, so we're going over the bridge, and it's just nothing but water. And I've been to Florida one other time, and I wasn't really mobile. I was in South Beach, but we walked everywhere pretty much, and so to actually drive through and the water, and we saw the sunset. But we saw it from the car, but we could see it going down. And we booked a room right on the beach at the Hyatt in Clearwater. And we pulled in. And when I booked it, I told them it was our honeymoon. Because why not, right? And you can make requests. So when I had initially booked the room, when the two of us had booked it, I talked to the guy at the Hyatt. And he goes, here's what you do. He goes, request because we wanted a view of, if I'm staying on the beach, I'm staying on the fucking beach. So I wanted a view of the Gulf. Because the way they pitch it is that like every room has a view of the Gulf. Well, yeah, you can see a sliver of the Gulf from every room. But I wanted to see inky black Gulf. That's all I wanted to fucking see. And the guy said, well, here's what you can do. Because there were many suites. It was it's shaped like a horseshoe. So you could look out your window and look directly across into another suite. But if you look to the left, there's the Gulf. That's not what I wanted. I wanted to look out on the Gulf. So I told him all that. He goes, now you're getting into different price levels. You're looking at different things. So I will tell you this. He goes, book this particular room because it's a really good deal. And in the notes section, tell them that you request a floor, the highest floor they have, and request a corner suite. Because then you will be able to see the Gulf and probably a better view of the Gulf, but even better, you will have a double-sided view and a corner suite, including a private balcony. And so I put that in the notes, and we booked it, and it was square. And then they said, if you want an upgrade, you have to fill this out. So we did. And so we show up, and we go to check in, and the woman was very nice. And she goes, I understand it's your honeymoon. And Jill just like turns and looks at me. And I'm like, well, yeah, of course it is. I said, we're spending one night here, and then we're going through Florida for the rest of our honeymoon. And then I go, well, we're so glad that you're here. How about some complimentary champagne? I said, of course, that would be fantastic. And then she goes and gets a manager, and then he comes over to help us, Jesse. He was a nice guy. And they start talking about champagne and rooms. And I'll tell you this. When you tell them it's your honeymoon, they love it. The desk clerk loved it. The manager loved it. I loved it. Jill thought it was hysterical. You know who doesn't love it? The guy behind you in line. Because he just wants to find out where the ice machine is. And these people are fawning over us and making a big deal out of things and telling us they're going to find a room for us. And he goes, you know what? We're putting you you're on the 16th floor, and here's the keys. And if you need anything all night, just let us know. And we're excited to have you. And, congratulations. And it was so great. They fawned all over us. So we walk over to the elevator, and Jill just goes, honeymoon? I said, well, it was there. Why not? Why not tell them that? So we get in the elevator. We go up to 16. We go in the room. Dude. The rooms were nice anyway. But they absolutely did us right because we walked in to a living room, couch chairs, kitchen, full kitchen. You know what I mean? Not like a kitchenette. I mean, there's like a fridge and all this stuff. And we walked in, and there's a kitchen island. And to our right, there's a balcony. Directly in front of us, there's a double patio doors of the balcony. And then we go in the bedroom, and there's more patio doors to the balcony. And we just look at each other, and we got champagne, you know, and it just, man, this is, it's fucking great. It was great. It was a great room. So I called Dan to touch base about my mom. But that's one of the reasons why we had booked the beach, because we knew it was going to be a very intense experience for a few days with my mom. So we were getting to town late. We figured, let's take one day for us. So I called to touch base with him, and he said, your mom's good. Everything's fine. You know, he goes, she wants to talk to you. So he gives her the phone, and she's like, Michael! But her voice was all messed up. I think it was from the anesthesia in her throat. It didn't sound like her at all. But she started to talk to me, and I understood her. And she's like, I feel good. I don't know what to do. When are you coming? I said, I'll be there tomorrow. And she said, okay. You know, how was your flight? And I told her. And then she started to kind of, I couldn't understand a word. She just fell off the fucking table. And it was a lot of, okay, all right, yeah, Ma, no, that's good. It's rest. You should rest. You should probably rest because I can't understand a fucking word you're saying, but you should rest for other reasons, probably. And she was really sweet and nice. And then she kind of nodded off, and Dan took the phone, and he's just like, yeah, she was good for a while there, but you kind of lost her. But she's okay, and it's good, and she's recovering, and everything's fine, and we'll see you tomorrow. And I said, great, I'll be there in the afternoon, and Jill's coming with me. He said, fantastic, can't wait to meet her. And so, I gave Jill an update on what was happening. And then we took advantage of Jesse's kindness and had fun in our room for our honeymoon. It was nice. Big TV. All the channels. They had all the channels on the TV.
Yeah.
So that was great. And we looked at it, and we were going to go down to the beach. Because I said, I'm going in the ocean at night, but I don't care. Let's just do this. Somehow we did not make it down to the beach. It just didn't come up. So we were in the room. Everything was great. And we slept with all the doors open. So the room was just filled with the ocean and the sound and the smell. Oh my God, dude, I didn't want to leave. I didn't want to go. Next morning we got up at like 6:30, because we checked what time the sun was going to rise, and we woke up and again, Jill doesn't sleep. So we went out on the private balcony because that's the direction facing the sunrise. I mean, we watched the sunrise from our private balcony on Clearwater Beach. It was just, I've had a lot of perfect moments with Jill, and probably will have a lot more, but that's going to be pretty memorable. Just the two of us on a private balcony watching the sunrise. It was pretty great. So we got ready to split. Had to get ready to leave, and because we had to drive, from Clearwater to where my mom was, it's about 80 miles. So we got showered, we got packed, took off, drove, and we checked in. We stayed at a Best Western. It was a nice hotel. And then we went to the hospital to go see my mom. And I was excited because, I haven't seen my mom in like 3 years. And I can't wait for everybody I know to meet Jill, particularly my mom, who's very important, obviously. So we get to the hospital, and, I ask where she is, and she's in intensive care. The ICU, the CCU, critical care, intensive care, what do they call it? So we find out exactly where she is, and we make our way through, and I start to feel it a bit, because I don't know what kind of shape she's going to be in. I mean, I've just always in my head said she's going to be fine, and I keep saying she's going to be fine. Everything's going to be fine. But on the phone, she sounded okay for a minute, and then it kind of went south. But I figured that's just the medication. But I don't know what to think. But I just know that I'm feeling it in the hallway. We're walking, and Jill took my arm. She's like, you okay? And I said, I think so. I think it's going to be fine. And she goes, it's going to be fine. Everything's going to be fine. So we get to the elevators. We go up to the critical care unit. We walk in. And the guy's like, you got to go down to this painting of a purple flower, and then there's double doors. Well, we walk down, and I'm in a fog. Like I kind of didn't even know where I was. It was weird. I kind of went away. I was there, but I was doing a lot of thinking of what was going to be, because I mean, it's a big deal. I mean, I wanted to meet Jill, and I want to see that she's okay, and I haven't seen them in so long. So I go, and I almost walk right past the purple flower, and she's like, this is it. And I said, what? And she goes, it's right here. I go, that's a purple flower? She goes, yes, that's a purple flower. And those are double doors. Let's go in there. We're okay. And she takes my hand and she leads me through. We open the door. We walk in, and I look, and directly ahead of us, there's a patient, and they're in their little room. But over to the right, I see Dan. So we turn the corner and we walk over. And I will tell you, there's Dan, and then there's my mom. My mom's sitting up. She's in a recliner. And Dan is sitting on the edge of the bed right next to her. And they look old. I mean, old. I mean, because I haven't seen them in so long. I've talked to them. My mom still sounds like my mom, but a little slower. And I said Dan sounded haggard the other day because he was, he's doing everything. He has to call everyone and tell everyone that she's okay and update everyone. And it's hard. It's hard. But they looked old when I saw them. And I see him, and he stands up and he's like, hey, Michael. And I give him a hug, and I go, hey, this is Jill. And he's like, oh, hey, Jill, how are you? And my mom looks up at me. And my mom, I will tell you this too, does not look like my mom. She's got her hair is the same. She's got a shock of hair, but her face is really swollen. Like Jerry Lewis steroids, crazy pumpkin swollen. And she also doesn't have her teeth in. I told the story when my mom yanked all the teeth out of her head and got dentures. Well, she doesn't have her teeth in. So she just looks different. She doesn't look like my mom. The eyes look like my mom, but that's about it. So she sees me and she smiles, and she kind of goes to stand up, and they're like, you can't stand up. And she leans over, and I go, hey, hi. And I lean over and I give her a hug. She doesn't say anything to me. Dan says, how was the trip? I said, good. And I go, Mom, this is Jill. And my mom completely ignores Jill. Doesn't say a word to her. And Jill is still standing next to me, and we're out in the hall a little bit, and I tell Dan, I go, the trip was fine. We drove, up from Clearwater. The flight was good, and, I had to pick Jill up, and we stayed at the Hyatt last night. We're in the Best Western, and my mom's not saying anything. She's just there looking. And then she says something to Dan, about, because I said the Hyatt, and she said something about a hotel. Oh, you're in a hotel? And I said, yeah, Mom, we're actually staying in the Best Western here in town. And she just goes, oh, that's good. And I go, Mom, this is Jill. And my mom completely ignores Jill. Doesn't say a word to her. And I know I can't get mad, yet. But that's not cool, so... and I look at Jill, and Jill just kind of smiles, and she just, don't worry about it. So I walk in, and we sit down in a couple of chairs. And I look at Jill, and I'm like, are you okay? And she goes, yeah, stop. It's fine. Because Jill, to her, she was just like, yeah, it's fine. She had no problem with it. But for me, it was just like, dude, you got to acknowledge. I mean, I'm introducing her. So Dan is talking to my mom, and they're going on and on about, her care, and are you okay, and how do you feel? She's like, I'm fine. I'm okay. I think I'm all right. And he looks at me, and he goes, you know what? I think I'm going to go get lunch. Literally, we just arrived. We spent about 10 minutes just kind of bullshitting about the trip and everything. And then he goes, you know what? I think I'm going to go get some lunch. He goes, there's a barbecue joint right up the street, so I'm going to go get a sandwich. And I said, great. I said, we'll be here when you get back. Because that was the whole point, is I was coming in to relieve him so he could go off and do his thing. So my mom is like, all right. And she calls him Dan. She goes, all right, Dan, well, where are you going? And he goes, well, I'm going to get some lunch, baby. And he gives her a kiss. And he's like, I'll be back. She's like, all right. And he says bye, and he walks out. So now my mom is sitting on the recliner. There's a bed between us, and then Jill and I are sitting on chairs. And my mom leans forward and looks at me, and she goes, have you seen Mark? And I said, I have not seen Mark. Is Mark the doctor? She goes, oh, Mark, I'll tell you, I just don't know how to feel about it. I mean, it's just, it's terrible. It's just terrible. And I go, it is terrible, huh? And she goes, yeah. Oh, you know, because they killed him. And I said, what? She goes, he was murdered. They murdered him, and I told him he shouldn't be friends with those guys. I told him he shouldn't deal with those guys, but he's just fucking stupid. It's like, I don't know why he would be with those guys, but he's just fucking stupid. And I told him, and then he gets murdered, and then I don't know what's going to happen to me. And I found the body.
What?
And I said, Ma, what are you talking about? And she goes, oh, I tell you, I knew it. I knew they were trouble, and they had that restaurant. And I knew it would be trouble because they're young. You don't want these young guys, and then Mark was dealing with them, and then, you know, we were dealing the meth, and we were trying to figure out what to do. And I'm like, I go, and I didn't know how to deal with it at first because I just kind of went, I go, you were dealing, Ma, so Mark, and then she tells me who she's talking about. And she's talking about a guy who's a lifelong friend of my family who died 2 years ago. And, you know, I'm sitting next to Jill, and I kind of look at her, and she looks at me like, this is, you know, because my mom just goes off on a monologue. And my mom said, and I'm next. She goes, you know, and they beat the shit out of him. And I was there, and I saw it, and I you know, I know I'm going to get bumped next. I know I'm next to get bumped, and I'm scared to death. And I go, well, he didn't touch you, did he? He didn't hit you. She goes, no, thank God. I thought he was going to beat the shit out of me because I waited, but I didn't fucking wait around for it. I got out. She goes, I'm just worried. I got 5 boys, and I'm worried about them. I go, I know you do, Ma. And she goes, no, you don't. I have 5 boys, and I'm worried about them.
Aww.
And I realize she has no idea who I am. When I thought she went to hug me, she was just adjusting in the recliner because she didn't hug me when I hugged her. She doesn't know who the fuck I am. And she essentially is telling me a story about covering up a murder and cleaning up a murder scene. And you know, talking about dope and when they cleaned it in the restaurant and how they had to do it this way. And there was a bunch of guys, and then they dealt with it. And I mean, to the point where I looked at Jill and I go, I hope like a nurse doesn't stagger in and hear this because they're going to have like a true crime novelist and come in and get an entire fucking novel out of my mom. I mean, because she's confessing to things that have happened. And I don't know if she's making them up or if she's not making them up because look, my mom's lived a life. I mean, I've covered that. And she ran with a pretty weird crowd. But she's basically telling the story of stumbling into a murder and having to cover it up and tell people other things happened, and she knew who did it. And I'm just letting her talk. And now her not acknowledging Jill makes complete sense. Because she doesn't know who the fuck we are. So she starts talking, and she won't stop talking about, you know, these kids and these, you know, they're dangerous and you shouldn't be working with kids. And then, you know, you've got your own supply. And I'm just like, oh my God. And I'm waiting for Tony Montana to come in and sign something with my mom, like some sort of pact, or I don't know what the fuck's happening. So I get up and I go over by my mom. Because I'm there's about 6 feet between us. Not even 4 feet. The bed's between us. So I get up and I go sit where Dan was sitting. And I sit on the edge of the bed right next to my mom. And when I do that, she shuts up. She stops talking. And I go, so Ma, I go, how are you feeling? Are you okay? Are you feeling any better? And she just goes, yeah. And she won't look at me. She got her mouth, like, you know, she got her head in her hands, like in one hand. And her wheels are turning and you can see it. And I'm making jokes. Like I keep making jokes about things in the hallway. I should tell you this too. At one point she had like a lunch tray or something and I went to take it out of the room to go, she had to use the restroom and I had to go get a nurse. So when I did that, Jill said that my mom was like, we got to start unpacking these boxes. And Jill's like, what do you mean? And she goes, because there was wood paneling and she thought it was cardboard boxes. So I came back in, and that's when I sat on the bed. And my mom shut up, and she got real quiet. And then she's like, I'm worried about my 5 boys. And I go, well, your 5 boys love you. She goes, I know they do. She goes, but I still worry about them. I said, I know you do. And I said, Ma, everybody's wearing shorts in here. I go, this is ridiculous. I go, show some respect, man. Put on some long pants. You're in a hospital. I don't care if it's Florida. I'm trying to make her laugh. I'm making jokes and hoping by sitting close to her and talking, I will jar her memory and she'll know who I am. Well, that doesn't work as well as I thought it would. Quite frankly, by sitting closer to her, I freaked her out because she completely withdrew within herself. And then she got dark, like really morose. And I would make a joke and she would just kind of ruefully chuckle at it like, huh, yeah. And she's not looking at me. And I'm like, Ma, you know, are you okay, Ma? You need anything, Ma? What do you need? And a nurse comes in. And the nurse says, hey, is this, are you one of the sons? And I said, I am. And and my mom goes, he ain't my son. And the nurse goes, no, well, you know, he looks a lot like you. She goes, he ain't my son. I go, Ma, come on, I'm your son. She goes, don't call me Ma. You stop calling me Ma. You ain't my son. And Dan walks in. And he goes, hey, Poopsie. And she smiles. And he goes, how are we doing in here? And so when she smiled, he's there. She recognizes him. And she says, oh, Dan. And he goes, what's going on in here? And she goes, I'm going to die. And he goes, well, we're all going to die. We just don't know when. She goes, I'm going to die now. And he goes, oh, don't talk like that. She goes, no. She goes, I don't know why I'm in here. I don't know why you've got me in here. And I go, Ma, it's okay. You got it. She goes, don't call me Ma. Don't call me Ma. You're in on it. You've got them. You know what? You've got everybody wound up, don't you? You got everybody in here wound up. And I go, Ma, I don't know what you're talking about. And I go, Pat, no, I don't have anybody wound up. And Dan goes, you got to relax. He goes, that's your boy Mike. Everything's fine. And she goes, they got to you. He got you all twisted up in it too. He's got everybody in on it. And the nurse comes in and she's like, well, nobody's in on anything. We're just taking care of you. She goes, you're in the hospital. She goes, I'm not in a fucking hospital. I'm not in a fucking hospital. I don't know who you are. I don't know why you're doing this, but he's got you all, you're all in on it. He's got all of you twisted up. And Jill's sitting there and I'm looking at her and she's kind of making a face like are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I think so. And then my mom goes, I'm getting the fuck out of here. And Dan's like, no, you're not. You got it. It's a hospital. And she goes, this isn't a fucking hospital. This isn't a fucking... And she starts ripping tubes out of herself. She reaches for the blood pressure cuff and she starts to tear it off. And she really just tears it off of her arm. And then she tears the heart monitor off, the patches. And Dan's talking to a nurse. I'm looking at Dan. And my mom is starting to yank stuff out of herself. And we're like, can we get somebody to, and my mom, there's a thing on her fingertip and she grabs it and she starts to pull it and it's stuck on her fingertip, but she won't let it go. She's fucking yanking it. And involuntarily, Jill went, oh no, don't. Like, don't, you're hurting yourself. Don't do that. And I saw it happen. Jill's, the bed's between my mom and Jill, and Jill is, she goes, no, don't. And my mom stops what she's doing, and she just gives Jill the look.
Oh no!
I mean, if you got my CD, you know what I'm talking about. I mean, everybody's mom or dad has a look that means that's it. This ends now. Stop your fucking nonsense. And I saw it. My mom froze and just fucking wheeled on Jill and stared at her. And Jill looked at her, and my mom kept staring at her, and Jill had to get up and leave the room because she was going to cry. Because my mom was hurting herself. And then my mom turned all of her rage into one fucking... Jill got the look. Jill got the fucking look! And I was horrified because I wanted to go after Jill, you know what I mean? Because she got chased out of the room by my mom, basically, and the look chased her, because the look, dude, don't fuck with the look. I've said it a million times. And I will admit there was a tiny bit of satisfaction to someone else seeing it, knowing exactly what I'm talking about, this withering, blood-curdling death stare, and it just, because I saw Jill just make this, and my mom gave it to her, and Jill got up and walked out. She basically scurried out. And then my mom went right back to tearing things apart. And Dan comes in and he looks at her and he goes, "You got to calm down, Patsy." He goes, "If you don't calm down, they're going to tie you to the bed." And she goes, "Don't fucking call me Patsy. I'm getting the fuck out of here." And he goes, "You got to calm down or they're going to tie, I'm telling you, they're going to tie you to the bed." And the heart thing went flat and nobody's in here. She's tearing shit out and nobody's coming. And I'm like, where the fuck is everybody? And I'm standing there and then part of me is like, should I grab her? Should I jump on her and make sure she doesn't pull any more shit out of her? And then she starts to go for the wound itself where she had surgery. There's a drainage tube inside of her. And she starts reaching for that to pull it out. And then they pile in like two nurses and a doctor, and they come in and no, it was like three nurses because there was no doctor. And Dan's there and he goes, "They're going to tie you to the fucking bed. I'm telling you, they're going to." And the nurse comes in. She goes, "You should all get out of here right now." And my mom is just like, "Don't you call me Ma?" And she's fucking yanking, she's tearing, and I walked out. And Dan came with me. And we went out in the hallway, and there's Jill by the purple flower. And she's just she looks a little glazed over, but she's okay. And I said, "Are you all right?" And she goes, "I got the look." I said, "Yeah, you did. I saw that." She goes, I was going to cry. And I go, "Yeah, that's so part of me is kind of almost happy that you saw it because it's real." And she's like, she gave me the look and she goes, "I'm so sorry. I didn't try to make her mad." I go, "This has nothing to do with you." And she goes, "No, I'm sorry. I had to say it because she was hurting herself." And that's why I was like, "No, don't." It wasn't even like I meant to say it to her. It was just kind of into the air. And oh my God, she gave me the look. And I go, "Yeah, I'm sorry, baby. You got the look." And Dan is like, "Don't worry about it. It's fine." He goes, "Obviously it's the medication." And so we're in the hallway for about 15 minutes. And then Dan goes back inside and Jill and I are out there and she just goes, "You okay?" I go, that was pretty intense." She goes, "Yeah, it was." She goes, "Are you all right?" And I said, "I think so." I go, and we rehash it and I go, "She doesn't know who I am." It was funny when she was talking about murder and everything, Jill and I were kind of joking about it. I'm like, and that's why I said, I go, "I hope some scriptwriter from SVU doesn't show up, and write my mom's fucking life story while she's here. I can't imagine all the stuff that nurses have heard and all the stuff that's going on in this fucking building. And they've never had anybody with the history of my mom, for fuck's sake. Or they have." And so then Dan comes out to get us. And he says, "Hey, we're done for the day." I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "I want you guys to leave. I want you to go out and have fun because they're not going to let us see her. And they are tying her to the bed." He goes, "I went in there and she's even crazier than she was. And so they're going to tie her to the bed now, like I said they would. And we're going to get her reattached to everything. But I want you two to go ahead and take off." I said, "Dude, I don't want to leave you here with that." He goes, "It's my job." He goes, "It's not your job." And he goes, "It's certainly not Jill's job." He goes, "So until she feels better, she's not going to feel better today. So go ahead and take your day today. Go do what you want to do. Go have some fun. And then, and we can come in tomorrow. We'll see her and we'll see how it goes. But you guys shouldn't have to see that. You shouldn't have to go through that." I go, "Well, neither should you." And he goes, "No, I should. That's why I'm here." He goes, "Don't even worry about it."
What a great guy.
Dan is the greatest. He's just, I can't explain it. He's just, "Yeah, we're doing this now and we're going to take care of it. And then we'll take care of something else later." And he just wrote it out. And he told Jill, he's like, I don't want you to I just want, let's just take off. And so we left. And he goes, "You want to come by the house? Because I'll show you where," because I'm staying at the house after Jill leaves. I go, "Yeah, we'll get out there and we'll go." And so I followed him to the place. And their house is so funny. They live in this like old folks, and it's so brutally racist. It's called like Japanese Gardens. And we were on Tea House Road. I mean, it's just fucking terrible. As I give their address like an idiot. But we're driving there and we're looking at stuff and, it's just old people waving. Everybody's super friendly and nice. And we go to their little house. They have a sunroom. It literally is a little house. It was cool. And we walked in and, Dan was like, "You guys want anything to drink?" And he goes, "I got beer and I got water." And Jill's like, "Could I have a beer?" And Dan is like, "Absolutely, you can have a beer." Like he's all excited. So he gets her a beer, and the three of us sit in the sunroom and talk. And we talk about my mom, and he talks about Jill, and he meets her, and we get to spend some time, which was great. And then we walked outside, And he said, well, I'm going to stop at your Aunt Marge's because my aunt lives in the same complex. He goes, and I'm going to let her know what's going on. And I go, is she around? I go, I'll go see her. He goes, well, she had cataract surgery today. And I said, well, can she see people? And he's just like, well, you can see as he goes, because he had cataract surgery the week before. So, I mean, the three of them together are not even a human. I mean, it's like literally, they're just all bits and parts. So he's like, well, let's go over to see your aunt. And I said, all right, I'd like to see her before I split. So we went to Aunt Marge's house, and I haven't seen her in forever, probably 10 years. And she was real friendly and nice. She's 77. So she comes out and she gives me a hug, and she meets Jill, and she's super nice to Jill. And she's like, come on in. And we go in the house, and the thermostat is set at 84 degrees. And she goes, so I get, when I'm alone, I don't really think about how hot it is. Is it hot in here? And we're like, yes, it's really hot in here. She's like, well, let's turn it down. So she turned it down to like 78. And then the four of us sat down, and then Dan gets a beer out of the fridge, and then he gives another beer to Jill, puts it in front of her.
Welcome to
Yeah, welcome to Dan's place. And so we hung out and talked for just, I think, an hour. Shot the breeze with my aunt and informed her what was going on and talked about her cataract surgery. And then Jill and I split. We went to go, we were going to go watch the sunset at the beach. Went to the hotel first and then went back out. And that was pretty great. It was just to get away from everything that was going on. And the two of us went and sat on the beach and watched the sunset. And it's a beach, I guess it's like the capital of sharks, of where you can find shark teeth. That's the whole deal. It's like the shark tooth capital of the world because they wash in with the tide or something. I don't know. So I'm not a sand guy. I've never have been, but I was fucking totally digging through the sand. I found these awesome shells for Jill, and I kept giving her shells because I'm fucking 4. And I'm like, and she kept going, oh, that's a good one. Oh, that's really nice. She's like super nice to me. And then we went to leave, and they were in a big pile. And I go, are you gonna take the shells? She's like, do you want me to? I'm like, no, you can leave them here. She goes, no, I'll take them. And I go, no, it's fine. You don't need to bring junk because I found you junk. But I must have looked so pathetic in my face, like, you're not going to take the shell. It was so bad. And then we split, and we were starving because we really had to eat all day. So we went to an Italian joint, and we got food, and we went back to the room. We just crashed. We were out of it. And I should tell you this, before we crashed, Dan had called me, and he told me basically, he goes, hey, you're not coming to the hospital tomorrow. You can call in the morning and check, but I'm telling you that it's probably not going to be a good idea. I said, what if she gets better overnight? And he goes, well, she might, and hopefully she will. And he goes, but I'm home now, and let's just play it by ear. But why don't you guys plan on spending time at the beach tomorrow? Go out and have a good time, do what you're going to do. And he goes, because there's no reason Jill has to be in the hospital. I go, dude, she came here for that reason. She knows, and he's thinking of her, which is nice, but at the same time, he's also saying, believe me, I'm not doing this for you guys. They don't want you there because, and I can't help but think that I triggered the whole thing because I'm sitting in there and Dan leaves and then I start talking to her in a very familiar fashion. And then I sat close to her and she totally withdrew. And that's when she got morose and mean and angry and started to lash out. So I didn't know how to feel about it. So we get up on Wednesday, and Dan says he's got beach chairs and beach blanket and all that for us to use. If we want, we can go pick it up by the house. But first I got to call and, I got to make sure that everything's going to work. But Jill and I get up and we're like, well, you know what? Let's get ready for the beach because he had told me not to come. So we did. We got ready for the beach. And I'll tell you this, I bought beach shoes. I bought awesome beach shoes. I was ready to wear just to the beach. I felt grown up doing it because it was like, oh, cool, shoes to buy just for a specific purpose instead of just shoes. I bought shoes for the beach specifically. It was kind of neat. Yes, I'm an idiot. Roll your eyes. That's fine. But that's how I felt.
I want to know what beach shoes are.
They're just Converse that I could wear without socks. Like they're not high tops. They're just these low top kind of almost like Skechers looking shoes. Because I could wear them in the sand and not have to, because I don't like flip flops and they're just shoes. And it just, but I felt grown up buying them. And I was like, oh, awesome. I'll buy some shoes for the beach. And believe me, Jill had the same reaction. She just like kind of rolled her eyes at me. She's like, "Ah, you're cute." And I'm like, "But I like them. Whatever. I'm not cute. I like my shoes. It's a grown-up thing to do. Shut up." All right, so we get ready to go to the beach, and we're getting ready at the hotel. We go to the grocery store, and we bought an ice chest, bought a bag of ice, bought a 12-pack of water, bought a bunch of Propel, bought some PBR, bought some pineapple chunks, bought some sunscreen. Got ready to hit the beach. Went to their house and wondered if I was going to get pulled over by the old cops because I'm not old. and I was not escorted by an old person out of the premises. I had no idea how it was going to work. And I actually missed their turnoff. It was funny. I was driving and I missed the turnoff, and the street right by them was named Larry Street. And I even said to Jill, I go, I have to get a picture of that. She's like, why? And I go, because I'm going to put my mom has cancer, and this street's name is Larry. And I'm going to put the picture up on Facebook because it's like that song. And she just goes, and I started laughing, and I'm like, I can't wait to do it. I got to take that picture. God damn it. And she laughs at me because she just thinks I'm an idiot, I think. Because I get so excited about the dumbest things in the world. And she's just like, one time she just told me, she goes, you're very interesting. And I think that's good. I'm not sure. I hope it is. She's still around. So hopefully interesting is good. So we pull into their subdivision, whatever the fuck it is, and we go up, and I go to their house, and I go into the shed, and they had, he left us beach chairs, and he left us the fucking blanket, and he left sunscreen out, SPF 50, which is what I was looking. That's what we bought too. And then I called him from the house, and I said, hey, we're at your place picking up beach stuff, and I go, do you want us to come by there, maybe before or after the beach? And he goes, no. I said, well, that sounded a little pensive. And he goes, yeah. I go, how's Ma? He goes, well, she's healthy. I go, what does that even mean? Like she's breathing? And he goes, she's a lot worse today. I said, what do you mean worse? He goes, well, I came in and I told her, I go, if she relaxed, we could untie one of her hands. Because she was tied up overnight. Because she refused to behave. And he said, I told her, if you relax, we'll untie one of your hands. So the nurses came in and they untied one of my mom's hands, and my mom punched the nurse.
Sorry. Oh, is she on morphine?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Among other things.
Yeah.
She started slugging everybody. She hit the nurse. She immediately started ripping stuff out, and she punched everybody who got close to her. And they had to restrain her and subdue her and sedate her and then tie her back to the bed.
I don't mean to laugh.
Well, I'm glad I didn't see it. I mean, what I saw I didn't like already. But I mean, to see her just start wailing on people would have been a fucking drag. Not that I haven't seen it before, but it would have been a drag. But he told me, and again, I didn't know how to feel. Because, the surgery went well, but now she's not all there, and she's not coming back. I mean, I don't, it just seems weird. It's been 2.5 days where she's not herself. Or 2 days, well, day and a half. So he's like, yeah, just go to the beach, have a good time. Call me later and I'll keep you posted on whatever's happening. But yeah, she's in no shape for anybody. So we split, went to the beach. And threw some sunscreen on, and it was so funny. He's like, dude, the beach it's like full of old people, like our beach. It's not like a young person's beach. He goes, so you guys are gonna stick out, and we kind of did. There weren't any real young people there. It was just older people. But I'll tell you what, more than old people, dudes. I mean, you've got to really love the sun to be the people that were at this. There was a dude who looked like he was made of caramel. I mean, it was so crazy because he was a white dude who was just brown, like crazy brown. He was putting baby oil on. And he's sitting there like in the sun. He fell asleep. And Jill and I are looking around and we're just looking at people and going, oh my God, they're going to die. These people are all going to die. Like maybe today because they were just so brown, so crazy dark. And in the meantime, I've got SPF 50 on me and on her. And she was, she couldn't wait to get to the beach because she hadn't had any color. And I had at least had some on my arms from driving in the sun. But she put the SPF 50 on me. And it's funny, I could feel it. I could feel myself burning. And I told her, I said, I'm going to burn. I said, it'll turn to color afterwards. But in the beginning, it's going to be a burn. And then I wanted to go in the water. And she's like, it's going to be cold. And we walked down. And I got her to go about halfway in. And then she had to get out because it was too cold for her. But then I fucking swam way out. You know what I mean? It was totally fun to be in the ocean. And then I was digging through the sand looking for shark's teeth, and I couldn't find them. God damn it! But I'll tell you what, everybody had these like fancy boxes that you use to find the shark's teeth, and I'm like, fuck that! I'm going old school, just hands. So I was digging in the sand with my hands, and I was just filthy. But you'd get washed off with every wave. It was great. So then I got out, and we had and I was drinking. It was funny. I was drinking some of Jill's beer on the because you know what? It was again. there's been a few epiphanies I've had in my life where I went, oh, now I know why people like this. And that was one of the days where I realized why people like beer, because it was fucking freezing cold out of the ice chest, and it was 82 degrees outside. And when I drank it, it hit my mouth and my throat, and I didn't even think that it was beer. I didn't even taste it. It just was fucking cold, and it went down, and it was awesome. And then I perfected a way to drink beer.
What does that mean?
Well, here's what it means. I picked it up, and she helped me. She told me that what I had to do. Because I said, how do men drink beer? She goes, what do you mean? And I go, well, how does a man like hold a beer? How does he drink it? I go, because he's not going to hold it like this and just drink it. That's just pathetic. I go, what about like this? And I just put like 2 fingers and the thumb on the neck, and I pulled it up to my mouth, and I took a pull off of it, and I drank it, and she goes, that's good. She goes, that was good. She goes, but you got to go, ah.
You're both idiots.
So I took a sip of the beer, and I went, and then I added in my own touch. I added this. I looked side to side, like mean. I looked mean, like with a sideways glance. And she goes, oh, I like that sideways glance. I go, yeah, that's right. It's my own touch. I've had it in there. So then all day I would grab her beer and I'd take a sip. And I'd look side to side, and then I'd put the beer down. It was fucking awesome. I invented my own way to drink beer. And then we got out of the water, and then I went back in the water like an hour and a half later. The water was colder, but I tried to get her, and she went out about 2/3 of the way with me this time, but then we got crashed by a wave, and it went over her hair. She goes, I'm out. That's it. I'm getting out. And then she went up and sat in the surf while I kind of rolled around like an idiot and dug for shark's teeth. It was just it was like a mom watching her kid, because I'm just digging stuff up, and she's just like, I'm just watching you have fun. And I'm like, are you sure? Are you okay? And she's like, yeah, I'm fine. Because what's she going to say? I'm not fine? Because then I'm going to get a puss on my face and be less interesting. No, that'll be terrible. Just let me be interesting. I think that's the lesson we all take away. Let me be interesting. So we finished our time on the beach. We were out there for like 4 hours. It was great. And then there was a joint called Sharky's on the pier next door, and we wanted to go eat. We had tried to go eat there the night before, and it was like a 2-hour wait. But then we went in and we put in we got on the list, there was an hour wait. And they said, well, you can go get a drink at the bar and hang out, and then there's these tables in the tiki bar, so... We went to get a drink, and I said, I want something ridiculous. I want something fucking that says beach with an umbrella in it and just nonsense. And they had something called a dirty banana. I said, done. What do you think? And Jill's like, yeah, dirty banana. And they go, that's the machine that's broken. Fuck! Get somebody out here to fix the dirty banana machine. But instead they had like a mango bango. I said, all right, mango bango. And it's just rum and mango in a fucking like weird daiquiri machine, and it comes out, it's all frozen. And they gave us 2 straws, which was nice. And then I took a sip of it. Oh, my God, dude. It was so delicious. I look at Jill. I go, I could drink 30 of these. She goes, no, you couldn't. You'd be dead. She goes, there's so much rum in this. You have no idea. I go, well, it's delicious. And she goes, yes, but that's why. She goes, if you drank like 3 of these, you would be finished. And I go, I could probably not even drink 1 and be finished. So then we're there, and we saw these people get up, so we went and we grabbed the table. It was in the bar area. And then a woman comes up, and she goes, hey, do you want menus? And we're like, I said, what do you mean? And she goes, well, yeah, if you want to eat. And I go, yeah, but we're on the waiting list for like an hour. She goes, no, these tables are first come, first served. If you want to eat out here, you can. It was on the deck by the fucking sun. And I'm like, yeah. So they brought the menus. And then Jill and I, usually when we order food, we order like 1 entree and we split it. Like at the pasta joint the night before, we ordered pasta and a salad and we split the whole thing. But we were both fucking starving from being in the surf and stuff. So she ordered like a seafood mix of scallops and shrimps and everything mixed with rice and vegetables. It was crazy. And then we got peel and eat shrimp, and we got lobster stuffed mushrooms, and we bought like a fried plate, the fucking captain's plate with fried shrimp and fried grouper and fucking onion rings, dude. And I think we might have eaten like 8 bites. She had a lot of her food. We killed the shrimp and we killed the mushrooms, but my fried plate, we ate the shrimp and then that was it. And then I was sitting there, and we drank mango bango. And we ate like the first wave of peel and eat shrimp and everything, and I didn't feel great, and I had to get up, and I went and I had to go, and I threw up. And I don't know, it was from being in the ocean and flopping around and drinking beer and then drinking mango bango and then eating some shrimp and some lobster stuff. I don't know what the fuck it was, but I threw up. But then I felt much better. So then I came back to the table, and Jill's like, are you okay? You don't seem like yourself. And I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm fine. And then the fried food came, and I really wanted it, and so I ate some of that, and I drank some mango bango, and then I got sick again, and I went and threw up again, and I didn't think I would. I thought I was fine because the first one I cleaned it out. I'm like, yeah, I'm good, and then it just hit me all over again once I ate more food. And then I came back to the table and just like, what is wrong? And I go, it's yeah, no, I'm sick. Like I just threw up a couple of times. She's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I go, it has nothing to do with food. It's just I don't know what it is. And I said those tables were first come first served. I forgot to say this, dude. As we're sitting there, people keep coming up to us and going, "Are you guys almost finished? Are you guys almost finished eating?" And we're like, "Go wait on the waiting list like everybody else. It's first come first served. We're eating." One old lady was super pushy. She comes up and she's like, "Hey, I just want to make sure if you guys are going to leave, you can get us. We're going to be sitting right here, and just give us your table. That would be great because we don't know if you're done." And I said, "No, we're okay. Thank you. If we leave, you can grab the table. I'm not going to save it for fucking anybody. That seems silly because we've been asked by like 8 different people." So then we ordered key lime pie because again, I didn't throw up twice or anything. So we ordered key lime pie because I said to Jill, I go, if they have key lime anything, I'm getting it. They had key lime pie and they bring it, and it was, dude, it was like a shoe. It was like a shoe made out of key lime pie, and also it tasted like key lime butter. Like it was just like so. I mean, man, it was rich. It was crazy, and when it comes, we have a bite, and then the old lady comes up again. And she goes, "I just want to let you know that we're right here, and if you guys, if you guys decide that you're going to leave, we're going to be sitting right here." I go, "That's great. We'll be here eating dessert." And she looked at me. She goes, "Oh, yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt or anything." I go, "Well, you kind of did, and that's okay. But I mean, yeah, we're here. We're still here."
Yeah.
And she went and sat down, and then I looked at Jill, and I go, "This is rude, right?" She goes, "Oh my God, it's so rude." I go, "All right, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't overreacting." She goes, "No, it's very rude of these people, all of them, to come up and ask us." Because we were hoping to kind of watch the sunset from the table, but it was like we were getting so fucking hawked. And then I threw up 47 times that we decided we should just fucking take off. So we waited to pay our bill, and finally they come with the check, and we pay the bill, and we get up to walk away, and right when we get up, some young guy bursts over and takes the fucking table. Just out of the starting gates. He may have been in a down position waiting for a gun to go off, and he sprinted over and he got the fucking table the second we got up and walked away. The old people were a foot away. A foot away. They could have stood up and walked. The second they saw us stand up, because we didn't like bolt, we stood up, and I straightened my shirt or whatever, and then we took a couple of steps. They could have gotten the table easily then, but they didn't. And this guy ran over and grabbed it. And I look at Jill, I go, "I'm not even turning around." She goes, "I love that he took that table." I go, "Absolutely, but I'm not even turning around. I don't want my last view of this beach to be 2 old people shaking their fists at me in an angry way as one of them has a fucking coronary because they didn't get my fucking table." So we leave and go back to the hotel. And when we get there, I call Dan. And it's funny, every time I call Dan, by the way, Dan has this old school phone. He's got a flip phone.
Nice.
He doesn't give a fuck about smartphones or anything. My mom's got the best, like the latest iPhone. He wants nothing to do with it. He gave me his cell phone number before I came to town. And I was like, should I call you or text you? And then in my head, I go, why am I even asking this? I'm not going to text Dan. Because if I text Dan, his phone's going to light up. He's going to see words. He's going to think it's haunted and throw it out the fucking window. Guy's 72 years old. He has no fucking idea what texting is. None. He would think it was just like some haunted transmission through the goddamn phone and just whip it into the street. So when I meet him and I see he's got that fucking flip phone and it's so bad and he can't even hear it anyway. So every time I call him, I laugh because I know he can't hear it. And he answers the phone and just hands it right to my aunt because he can't hear me on the phone. He has 2 hearing aids on top of hearing aids. So we call from the hotel and my aunt's like, "Hello, Michael. How are you?" I said, I'm good. We went to the beach. Everything's fine. "Oh, okay. Well, yeah, your mom's not doing any better today. I go, "Well, I talked to Dan earlier today." She goes, "Yeah, well, even it's gotten worse. She's yelling and it's not good." And, and I'm like, "Oh my God." Well, I go, "Is it the medication?" And they said, "Well, the thing is, they asked Dan if your mom drinks because she's having the exact reaction that alcoholics have in rehab when they have the DTs." And I said, "Well, my mom doesn't drink." And I go, "Well," she goes, "Well, the thing is, apparently she told the nurse that she drinks vodka every day. And so they're starting to think that maybe that she's having some sort of relapse from alcohol." I go, "She also punched the nurse. I mean, they're not listening to this bullshit, right? This is my mom is crazy. She's crazy. She told me about a murder, for fuck's sake." And my aunt's like, "Well, it's, they're just trying to get to the bottom of it, and she's very all over the place right now. But the good news is there's no cancer. So, at least that's fine." And I go, Wait, what? And she goes, "Yeah, they came back today with the tests. They tested the lymph nodes. There's no cancer."
Yay.
Why are you burying the lead, Aunt Marge? She can punch anybody she fucking wants to in the hospital now that she doesn't have fucking cancer. I don't care. And I said, so wait, so you're telling me she's clear? The lymph nodes are clear? The doctor told you this. It's not some hearsay or you're not guessing? She goes, no, the doctor came in and they told us that there's not a trace of cancer in her body. Everything's fine. They got it out when they took what they took out and there's nothing in her lymph nodes. She's fine. And I was crazy happy, but at the same time, I didn't. But it was like so weird that was the afterthought. Yeah, she's still a little nuts, but oh, by the way, the cancer, it's gone. But anyway, she's really yelling at people. I don't give a fuck if she yells at everybody. She should be yelling, I don't have cancer. That's what she should be yelling at everybody. So she's fine. Other than the fact she's a fucking banana head at this point. I don't know. And also, I got to be honest, I'm starting to doubt it now because now this is Thursday night. She called me Michael on Tuesday on the phone, and since then, it's been all down fucking hill. So I say, well, what about tomorrow? And she says, Dan says don't come in tomorrow. I said, well, Jill leaves tomorrow. I have to take Jill down to Fort Myers to the airport, but we'd like to stop in and see. And he goes, nope. And Dan gets on the phone. He goes, Michael, you're not coming in. He goes, she's worse today. And I don't know what it's going to be like tomorrow, but there's no reason that Jill should have to go through that. There's no reason you should see her. And there's nothing you can do for her here. Even if you came in, she'd be yelling and you'd just be standing here. She wouldn't recognize you. I said, is that ever going to stop? He goes, I hope so. He goes, we're talking to them about the medication, but they're trying to see if it's the hallucinations, and they're talking about her drinking this vodka. I said, yeah, what the fuck is that? I've been with this broad for 30 years. She doesn't drink. She might have a Manhattan once in a while, and she has Crown Royal at Christmas, but she doesn't fucking drink. I go, yeah, but apparently she told the nurse she's drinking a quart of vodka a day. I said, Dan, you told them that she's lying, right? And he goes, yeah, I told him. He goes, but they right now that's what they're operating on because they did a CAT scan of my mom and there was nothing wrong with her brain. But that's how worried they were about it. But they can't explain it. They don't know what's going on. I said, well, tell them to change the fucking medication. Dan's like, I'm trying. We're working on it. So I told Jill what was up and we were happy. We were really happy that the cancer was gone, but at the same time, it's just fucking weird. And also, Jill came out to meet my mom and spend time, and then she doesn't get to meet her, and I didn't feel right about it. So Friday, I have to take Jill to Fort Myers, which is about 80 miles south. So we got ready, and we're going to check out of the hotel. Oh, dude, fuck, I got to tell you this. Thursday morning at the Best Western, we woke up before we went to the beach. Dude, they got like a fancy breakfast thing, like free breakfast. And you go down and they got eggs and oatmeal and toast and fucking. But dude, this is the greatest thing. We can get whatever we want. We got yogurt and fruit and I wasn't I never even take advantage of that. But just like, let's go have breakfast. So we went downstairs before we go to the beach and we got yogurt and I made her toast in a little toast machine. But it wasn't a push down toaster. It was weird. It was like a conveyor belt toaster, and I don't know how that works. Like the toast goes on a little ride and then he comes out and he's all cooked, which is fine. But it just seems weird. Like that's lazy to me. Like if toast should go in a toaster and should be ejected out. Like when it's ready, it's like, toast. It shouldn't just be like, yeah, toast. You know what I mean? Because when you put the toast in the toaster, it drives down the conveyor belt and then it just kind of dumps out. And it's done perfectly. It was fine. So I buttered her toast. I'm like, yeah, that's good. But it just didn't have the excitement of the pop-up toaster. But then they had make your own waffles. Dude, they had a waffle iron and you can get the batter and you pour it in. God damn, I make a serious waffle. I told Jill, I opened it up and I peeled it out and I looked at it and I was like, dude. And she's like, dude. I said, yeah, that's right. You don't think I can make a fucking steak, but maybe I'll grill you a goddamn waffle. I'll make a waffle that makes you cry. So we had fancy breakfast, but then we got up a little late on Friday and we didn't get downstairs in time. We split. We went to Fort Myers. We met a friend of hers for a drink. And let me drop this on you folks. Look, we all know about Bomb Pop and Chinese Rick. But if somehow I happen to have a third son, if I have a third boy come down the pike, if Bomb Pom and Chinese Rick have a friend they refuse to part with and he has to make the trek across the sea to join us all here in America, I have a name all picked out.
Uh-oh.
Because Bomb Pop and Chinese Rick cannot live without Stevie Tomatoes. We wound up meeting this girl for a drink, and she said, oh, there's a bar called Stevie Tomatoes. And I said, that is my son's name, Stevie Tomatoes. Stevie Tomatoes Schmidt. Bomb Pop, Chinese Rick, and Stevie Tomatoes. How do you not make that fucking happen? So just in case I have a third, Hold all tickets. Stevie Tomatoes it is. So we head over to Stevie Tomatoes, and it's me and Jill, and we're waiting. And then her friend shows up, and we have some drinks, and that was fun. And then I had to take Jill to the airport, and that was not fun at all. It never is. But her flight was delayed, so we got an extra 40 minutes, which was great. And then she got on the plane and took off, and then I had to drive back myself. And Dan's like, I called him, and he said, hey, tomorrow I think you can come in. I go, is she any better today? He goes, no. But I think you should come in the morning. He said, she's a little better. She didn't hit anybody. And they don't have to tie her up. So she's kind of coming out of it, but it's not perfect. He goes, but I don't know if it's going to be perfect for a while. I said, okay. I said, well, what time tomorrow? He said, well, you're coming here tonight. And I said, oh, fuck, yeah, all right, I'll be there. So I went, and I went to stay with Dan that night. So I actually had to stop in Walmart first, which was because I had to get yogurt and bananas for his house. Because he's got, literally, he's got a sleeve of saltines and mustard. He's not doing any shopping. My mom's in the fucking hospital. So I went to stay at their place. Oh, and I should tell you this, man, my mom smoked in that house. Oh my God, did my mom smoke in that house? We walked in the first time, Jill and I, and my eyes burned. They burned for a day and a half. I thought I was going to have to buy fucking eye drops, which I never do. But I get there, it's like 10 o'clock and Dan's there, and he tells me, she's a little better, but we'll see in the morning. We got to go about 9. I said, great. So I go to grab the phone and text Jill to find out that she's okay, and I don't have any service in his house. And he goes, oh yeah, you probably won't with AT&T because we got a double metal roof. So I can't text or call from inside the house. So I have to go out to the street to text Jill. To a certain spot too, by the way. It's not like you can just walk into the street and then all of a sudden you got bars. You have to walk in a circle until you sign, so the bars show up on your phone, and then you just stand there and you fucking text from that spot. Brutal. So the next morning we get up, and like I said, I don't know. I have no idea what I'm walking into. And I will tell you, I am really worried because, it's bad enough I missed my mom's surgery. But I knew I would be in town at least for the recovery. But the thing is, she really wanted me to be in town before the surgery. She wanted to spend time with me before it, just in case anything happened. And I never thought anything would happen. But if I thought something would happen, I would think it would have something to do with the cancer. Not that she was going to go fucking crazy. And I wouldn't know who she was, and she wouldn't know who I was, and I may never again know who she is. So I was a little trepidatious about it because I kept saying in my head, one day, one fucking day, you missed her, you missed your mom by one day. And I would not have been able to handle that. So we go to the hospital on Saturday. They moved her out of critical care late Friday night. And we find out the room she's in. We go upstairs. And he goes, I'm going to go in first. And we'll see how it is. And then you can come in. So Dan goes in, and I hear my mom, and she's talking. Because I hear her voice, and her voice is really soft. But it's her. Because before she had that real squeaky anesthetic voice, and it's sort of like that, but I can hear her in it. And he walks in, and she goes, oh, Dan. So she recognizes him right away. And he says, oh, how you doing? And she said, oh, I'm fine, I think. And he says, well, hold on, someone's here for you. He goes, hey. And so I walk in, and my mom is sitting up in the bed. And she looks, and her eyes light up, and she goes, Michael! And I don't think I've ever felt that good in my life. Because I didn't know. I didn't know if she was going to be my mom ever again. And I said, hey, Mom. And I walked up, and she hugged me, and she, just that, oh, I'm so happy you're here. When did you get to town? And I said, oh, I came in this week. She goes, oh, and she goes, what day is it? I go, it's Saturday. She goes, oh my gosh. And, I was here. When was surgery? I go, Monday. She goes, oh my God, I've been here for 5 days. And I said, yeah. I said, I got to town Tuesday night, and we stayed in Clearwater. And she goes, where's Jill? And so she knew that Jill was supposed to be with me. I said, oh, Jill had to go home. She went home last night because she had to work. And she said, oh, yeah, I remember that. Wait. She goes, well, how come you didn't bring her in? And I look at Dan and he just kind of like shakes his head. And I go, oh, well, we were going to, but, you were sleeping and you were real tired. And then she's like, oh, well, okay, next time. And I said, well, we're talking about coming back at Christmas. She goes, absolutely, that'll be great. Come on back. And then she just starts talking into space, like for nothing, and then just falls asleep. Gone. Like she's like, yeah, that'll be great. And then, when you come here sometime, there'll be a yard and I'll show you a cactus and then gone, sleep. And I looked at Dan and I'm like, that's amazing. And he goes, yeah, but she knew you. I go, that's the best. That's the best. So we hung out all day in the hospital room. And she was my mom, sort of. Like, she was bits and pieces of my mom, but she also was the obstinate and fucking stubborn like my mom. So they brought her lunch. I brought her a hamburger. And she'd just pick it up and she just like gummed it, like she gummed a big piece off of it. And we tried to feed her and she wouldn't let us. So she's got the fucking fork in her hand and she's trying to spear potato wedges. And she's missing them by just like an inch. But she keeps trying, and I go, Mom, let me get that for you. She goes, I got it. It's okay, honey, I got it. Whiffing on everything. Just. She picks up the hamburger, and we cut the hamburger in half for her, and she's holding it in her hand, and she puts it past her mouth, and like crashes it into her cheek, and then she leans her, and then she holds her hand. The best part is instead of taking her hand and putting the food in her mouth, she holds the burger steady and then moves her head over to the hamburger to bite it. And she's still missing, like she's biting early and she's biting on the side and she's totally missing it. And it's just, watching somebody on heavy medication eat a hamburger is a revelation. Because it looks like someone trying to cram ghosts in their mouth. My mom was Pac-Man. That's who my mom is. My mom is Pac-Man. And the fucking hamburger was Inky, Blinky, and Clyde because she was trying desperately. Hamburger, green beans, and potatoes were Inky, Blinky, and Clyde, and she could not get them in her mouth. She couldn't. And then when Dan would try to feed her, she'd be like, no, I'm okay. I falls asleep. Like literally. So that's what all day Saturday was like, was her sleeping and in and out of sleep. And I should tell you this. She had a sitter in her room. They assigned my mom a bodyguard to make sure she didn't do anything stupid, basically. And these people were there the rest of the time, like all day, 24 hours. She had someone in there with her at 12 hours at night who would just sit there making sure she didn't do anything. Because she also kept trying to get up and do stuff. And she's got an IV and all sorts of shit attached to her. She can't do anything, but she wants to. So we're there Saturday, we hang out, and then finally we leave around 8 o'clock that night. She chases us out because she's like, I'm tired, I'm sleeping. And the thing was, she was sleeping all day. She didn't realize that we were there, but she kept saying, I'm tired, you should go. And we're like, you can sleep while we're here. But finally, she just kicks us out. So we leave at 8, we hung out, went back on Sunday. And every time I went back, she became more of my mom. Like exponentially, she became more of my mom every time I'd walk in the room. And she was being stubborn, but she was still kind of happy when she was laughing and she was joking around. But then she'd be kind of distant. I don't know how to explain it, but she was still my mom. Here's an example of how she was still my mom. They came in to talk to her, and they were talking about physical therapy. And the thing is, hospitals are they're just early graveyards. That's really all they are, and there are people recovering, but there are more people in there that are just fucking fading. And even if you've been fixed, you're still fading. We're all dying, especially in the hospital hallways. So physical therapy is walking people up and down, and I'm walking at a good clip. I mean, I feel healthy. I feel good about myself. I've lost a lot of weight, and I feel like I'm okay. But then you get there, and it's a real good way to feel mortality seeping in because you're running this gauntlet of walkers. I mean, it is just an amazing amount of walkers. They're all over the place, and the look on the people's faces, and they're shaking, and there's the drooling, you want to go, are you even in recovery? Are you really in recovery as you hobble along with this walker? Because there's it's 3 walker traffic too, by the way. It's just there's not just one person in the hallway. There's 3. One's coming, one's going, and one's just spinning in fucking circles doing walker donuts. I mean, it's just fucking terrible to watch. And you're just going, man, I don't know if I could fathom being like this. I don't ever want to be like that. And I know my mom didn't ever want to be like that. And it's so funny. So here's what I mean about her being my mom. The guy comes in, he starts talking about physical therapy, and he starts he's talking about getting her a walker. She goes, "Oh yeah, I definitely need a walker. I absolutely need a walker." And he goes, "Great." And she goes, "You know what? Can you? They got those things outside. I saw the walker and it had like the Simpsons on it." And then he goes, "Oh yeah, for fun. Sometimes I like to put, we'll put a little tape on there. It'll be a special walker, like a Simpsons walker. If someone likes, a football team, we'll put it on there." And she goes, "You know what I want on mine?" He goes, "What?" And she goes, "Skulls." And he goes, "What?" She goes, "Yeah, just skulls, like black, just like black tape with white skulls. Put that on my walker." And I went, "Ma, I don't think they want to have a lot of skull imagery here in the hospital." And she goes, "I don't care what the fuck they want. I think that'd look great." And I'm like, "It probably would. Can you find skull tape?" He goes, "I'll take a look." But that's my mom. She wanted skulls on her walker, which I guess was some sort of way to say, "Get the fuck out of my way." I couldn't figure it out, but it's who she is. Um, so Sunday we're there, and my aunt comes in, and I'm there for her recovery, and I'm there to do whatever they want, but at the same time, I'm just kind of there. I'm just a presence. Well, the woman bodyguard who's there, she's probably 55, 60. My mom is 70. Dan is 72. My aunt is 77. My aunt, by the way, is dating a man who I knew in my youth. He used to come to our family parties, and now his wife's dead, and my aunt's second husband is dead, and so they found each other, which is great because they've known each other for 40 years. Easy. But he travels with a fucking dog everywhere he goes. So my aunt's telling us about it. He's got a Bison Frichet or Bichet Frisson or whatever the fuck it is. Tiny little fucking purse dog. He's a man. You're a man. What are you doing with a purse dog? But I guess it's so well trained that like anywhere he goes, he's got its little carrier, little house in the back of his car. And if he can't bring it in, he just puts it in the car and it goes in the house. It doesn't make a sound. It doesn't do anything. And he cracks the windows and he puts a ton of water in there for it. He takes care of the dog. But he also can't be far away because it's Florida and he won't fucking chance it. And he loves the dog like a kid. So he tries to bring the fucking dog in the hospital. And they start telling him, you can't do that. And he's like, well, why not? He's well behaved. He doesn't make any noise. And then my aunt is telling me the story, and I'm like, are you fucking joking? If he would have brought that dog into the room, I would have thrown it out the fucking window. You're joking. And she's like, yeah, I tell you what, he doesn't travel without that dog. And I'm just like, well, he better learn to travel without that fucking dog. So he stayed with the dog while my aunt went upstairs. I guess he took the dog, because it was so hot he couldn't just leave it in the car. Obviously, he's not going to do that. But that's just like old people logic. Yeah, they'll just let me bring a dog in the hospital. No, they won't. So my aunt is there, and this old lady is there, my mom and Dan, and I'm sitting off in a chair by myself. And they just start getting old. You ever hear about like when you see somebody and they're oh, that dude's getting loose? They were getting old. Dan's ankle hurts. My aunt's elbow hurts. My aunt's cataract is acting up. Even though she had it taken out, she feels weird about her eye. And Dan's cataract is fine, but he can't hear anything. And my mom, she doesn't feel good. And my mom wants to go ahead and go to the bathroom, but she can't because she got a catheter and she's trying to figure out how to get it out of herself. And they're going on and on in this contest to see who's going to die first. And I'm sitting in the chair listening to it, and I'm going, you know what? It's going to be me. It's going to be me of boredom. So then my aunt stands up. She goes, well, Michael, how are you? I said, I'm good. And she goes, do me a favor. And she goes, Pat, give me your phone. And she takes my mom's iPhone. And she comes over and she goes, do me a favor, Michael. I want you to put some numbers in there. And I said, okay. I go, like whose? She goes, put all of them in there. I go, well, who's all of them? And she goes, well, put yours in there. I go, well, shouldn't it already be in there? And my mom's like, well, I just got the phone. I haven't had a chance to do any of it. So I go, all right. So I put myself in there. She goes, all right. And my aunt goes, now go ahead and put Lenny in there. Now I should tell you this. My mom is sitting on her bed. Dan is sitting on a chair next to her. The woman, the babysitter's at the foot of the bed. My aunt is directly over my shoulder. She goes, go ahead and put Lenny in there. So I go, all right. So I start to put Lenny in there. And she goes, now go ahead and put Andy, put Scott in there. Would you like me to put all of my brothers in there? Yeah, just go ahead and put them in. So I start to put them in. She goes, now you need to put these numbers in there. I'm going to read them to you. I go, who are they? She goes, well, it's my cousins, Connie and Karen and Janice. And And she goes, well, I'll just read them to you. First, let's do Karen, K. And I go, I know, believe me, if there is any word in the English language that I know how to spell, it's going to be Karen. And she goes, all right, well, K, and then, but you got to spell her last name. And I go, Aunt Marge, give me the phone. I will read the numbers. I can, it's fine. I can do it myself. You don't have to read them to me. Well, I'm just trying to make it easier for you, Michael. I just want to make sure that we, I just want it to get done. I'm doing it. Hand me the phone. Give me your phone and I'll all right. Well, here you go. And I take the phone and I start putting in the numbers. And she doesn't sit down. She stands over me. And I'm typing, and look, naturally when you type on a fucking iPhone, sometimes you make a typo or you hit the wrong thing, but you'll notice, I'll do it before I hit send or enter. So I type, she goes, no, you hit a K, that's an R. I go, I know, I'll get to it. And she goes, well, no, you got to go back. I don't want you to put it in wrong because then your mom's not going to be able to find it. I go, I got it. It's okay, no problem. And I'm not getting mad. Outwardly. I mean, inside I'm fucking furious. I'm ready to lose my mind and throw both phones out the fucking window, but at the same time I just recognize that she's old and she's trying to help. So she goes, all right, go ahead and put Janice in there. So I go to put Janice. She goes, that's Janice with a C. I said, Aunt Marge, it's right there in your phone. I see her name right there. There's a C. Well, I just want to make sure you know it's a C and an E, not an S, because a lot of people mess that up. They'll go ahead and put Janice with an S. And I go, I'm looking right at your phone. The listings are Janice with a C and an E, and it's okay. Well, all right, well, make sure you go. And so I put all the phone numbers in, and she goes, did you put the addresses in? I said, I didn't. She goes, you got to put the addresses in. And I go, why? Is my mom sending them mail from the hospital? She goes, oh, don't be a smart ass, Michael. Just do what I ask. All right. So I take the phone. And so now I got to put everybody's address in. And then she's like, well, did you put Lenny's address in? I go, I don't have Lenny's address. And she's like, well, you got to make sure you get it. Can you call him and get it? I go, she doesn't need Lenny's address right now. And my mom and Dan are oblivious. They're talking. The babysitter's over there. But my aunt is on my fucking shoulder like a 77-year-old fucking parrot who will not leave me the fuck alone. And again, I'm being nice. I'm not losing my mind because I recognize she's old and I love her and she helped raise us and she's a wonderful woman and she's just trying to help. But oh my God, stand down, Aunt Marge. So I'm entering all of these fucking names and numbers and I finally get like all the addresses in and I said to my mom, I go, Ma, you want anything else in there? She goes, who you got in there? Well, I got Janice with a C. I got Lenny. And I start reading the names, and I'm making myself laugh, but nobody else thinks it's funny. And then Aunt Marge is like, I think those are sufficient. Are those good, Patsy? And my mom's like, yeah, that's fine. And my aunt goes, all right, you know what? I want to play that game with your mom. And I said, okay. She goes, well, that game, you know that game. You got to put it on her phone. I said, what game? The word game, that game. It's like spelling. Okay, but I don't know what game that is. She goes, well, I have it on my phone. I don't know. Let me find out the name of it. It's that, well, give me my phone. So I hand her the phone, and she goes, it's this one. And she just shows me a black square. I go, okay, what's it called? She goes, well, I don't know. I'll open it up. And I go, I've never played this game. I don't have any games on my phone. And she goes, well, it's Words with Friends. Oh, gosh. She goes, I want to play with your ma. I was like, all right. She goes, so, okay. I go, do you want to play right now? Do you want me to start a game? She goes, well, your ma doesn't have it on the phone. I said, okay. And she goes, so you got to put it on her phone for her. I said, all right. So I go to the App Store and I search for Words with Friends and I go, the one that costs money or the one that's free? Oh, go with the free one. All right. So I click the free one and it says, do you want to download? I said, yes. And then it says, we need your password. And she goes, Patsy, what's your password? And my mom says a thing and I enter it and it does not go into it does not make it work. And I go, Ma. And she looks at me and I go, Ma, what's your iTunes password? She goes, oh, my iTunes password? I thought you wanted my bank password. Here you go. She gave her bank password in front of everybody. I love your mom. Gave her bank password in front of the babysitter and everyone in the room. And said, oh, no, here it is. So she gave me, I punched in, and of course, then it comes up and I'm able to download. And so download Words with Friends, which starts coming in. And as it's downloading, she goes, and I want to play that other game. And I go, what do you mean? She goes, well, you know, that other game that everybody liked, that candy game. And I said, and she looks at her phone, she goes, Candy Crush. And I go, all right. So I download Candy Crush. And as they're downloading, my aunt goes, oh, do me a favor. She goes, I want to play a game, but we got to set it up because I don't know, like, so when it opens up, just open it up. I said, what do you mean? She goes, when it downloads, just open it up and we'll play, and I'll set up a game with her. I go, so you're going to play her right now? She goes, well, no, you play in the beginning, but then it's just a way to figure out who she is so I can find her online. I said, all right. So it downloads and I open it up and you got to have like a Zynga membership name or some bullshit. And I go, I go, Mom, what's your Zynga name? She goes, I don't know what the fuck that means. And my aunt goes, oh, well, just sign her in with Facebook. And I go, I don't know anything about her Facebook account. I'm not going to do, I go, Ma, what do you want me, do you want an online name for Words with Friends? She goes, yeah, go with Poison.
Love your mom.
So I put in Poison, and I go, Ma, someone's already got Poison. She goes, go with Poisonous. And my aunt is like, all right, well, whatever it is, just make sure you challenge me to a game. So I go with Poisonous, and it doesn't work. And my aunt is literally still standing right next to me the entire time, watching stuff download, watching me put stuff in, watching every password go in, making sure that my thumbs work. I don't know what the fuck she's doing, but she's there. And I go, Ma, someone's already got Poisonous. She goes, well, I don't give a fuck. What do you want it to be? And I go, how about Poison Pat? She goes, all right, try Poison Pat. So I went with Poison Pat, and it worked. So I got my mom a Candy Crush name, or a fucking Words with Friends name. And,
Challenge her to a game, everybody.
yeah, go ahead. Find Poison Pat on Words with Friends. And my aunt,
Don't.
oh, yeah, I don't care. She'll never play you. It doesn't matter because I don't think she's going to play my aunt ever. But then so I'm in there, I'm Poison Pat, and then my aunt goes, all right, well, you got to find me and challenge me to a game. I said, but why? You already know her name. She goes, because I want to make sure that she finds me and I find her. So I look, and my aunt's already got like 8 games active with all these different names. And I go, well, what name do you want me to pick? She goes, well, pick this one. So I pick her name, and I challenge her to a game, and then the letters come up. And she goes, Michael, I tell you what you got to do. You got to take a picture of me. I said, what? She goes, well, look at my profile picture. I just don't like that. I said, well, what do you, but I don't know what you mean. She goes, well, just take another picture of me. And I go, all right, well, give me your phone. So I took it, and I took a picture of her. She goes, oh, that's just terrible. Go ahead and take another one. And I said, well, I didn't have anything to do with that. I mean, and she goes, I understand. Just take another photo of me. Will you please? That's just terrible. So then I take another, she goes, well, hold on, let me fix my hair. And my mom goes, you want a comb? And she looks at me, she goes, Michael, what does she mean by that? Does she think I need a comb? Do I need a comb for my hair? I go, Aunt Marge, I don't know. You got to look the way you want to look. She goes, yeah, but Patsy, are you just being a smart ass? Because do you think I really need a comb? Because I can comb my hair. And I'm literally just, oh my God, I'm taking a photo of you. You're 77 years old. You're 77 years old. I should take a photo of a cloud at this fucking point. Honestly, it would be, you are one with the earth.
Oh my God.
You know what? Do me a favor. Let me just take a photo of a fucking walker and throw it up because everyone's going to know. So I take another photo of her, and she pushes her hair back, and she just goes, oh, I look terrible. She goes, the thing is, though, I know that that's me. It just doesn't look like me to me. And I said, okay. She goes, yeah, but I don't look like that to me. She goes, I got old. And I was like, yeah, I guess I hear you. I go, but you look beautiful. And she just goes, yeah, but I don't, nah, you're nice to say so, and I love you, but yeah, I don't look like me anymore. And I said, well, you look great. And so then Poison Pat engaged in a game. And then she's like, well, she goes, well, you got to play just to get it started. And I went, all right. And she goes, well, you got to put something on the center tile. And then you got to, you know what, go with the word fair. Put the F on this. And I'm like, I know how to play Scrabble. I will find a word here if you give me a second. Well, I just want you to get it started. We're not really playing. We're just going to go ahead and get it started. I'm like, oh my God. And she's standing by me the whole time, still standing up. And thank God the phone rang. My mom's phone rang, and then my aunt goes, well, wait, let's finish this game. My mom's like, give me that fucking phone. So I had to give my mom the phone so she could talk to whoever it was who was calling. And my aunt is like, well, when she's done with it, we'll go. Oh, yeah, absolutely. When she's done with it, we will immediately play more of this Words with Friends game that I can't wait to finish. And I mean, I'm 46, so I think I'm old. And I say I'm old, and people are like, you're not old. And I'm like, well, I'm the oldest I've ever been. But Jesus, that was old. That is 3 old people just with hurt necks and goiters and fucking, oh, I got to take a shit. And I mean, I'm just like, oh my God, just awful, awful, awful. And that room was just a microcosm of the town. I mean, the entire town was just this wrinkle fest. I mean, it was me and my closest parents and aunt and the California Raisins all sharing a goddamn town with white hair, and everybody looked like a dollar bill. And holy fucking God, just, you know that scene in Caddyshack where all the caddies, it's caddy day at the pool and they show up and they start doing the water ballet? I just basically expected that with walkers. That's all I expected was these people with walkers to break them out and do like a fucking crazy weird song and dance, and then just like a 21 broken hip salute, and holy God, was it awful. just old, ancient fucking people. Just driver's licenses with hieroglyphics and just archaeologists blowing dust off of their shoulders looking for fossils. I mean, just ancient goddamn folks. Dodging walkers in the fucking hallway. Not a skull on them to be seen. We hung out. That was Sunday. By Monday, my mom was really good, turning back into herself, and she actually kicked us out of the hospital. We got there in the morning because I will tell you this: even though she was getting better, she was showing flashes of still being crazy. We had gotten to the hospital on Sunday. I should tell you this: on Sunday before the Old Fest, Dan and I got there about 9:45, and she was awake and she was talking, and it turned out she had not slept overnight because my mom's also a very late person. So she stayed up chatting with her babysitter and all that stuff. And so we get there at 9:45, and then at 11 o'clock she goes, well, you guys got to get going, huh? And we said, what do you mean? She goes, you got to get going. It's 11 o'clock. And we go, we just got here, Ma. She goes, no, it's 11 o'clock. I go, Mom, it's 11 o'clock in the morning. She goes, oh, well, I'm tired. So you guys got to go. So she kicked us out on Sunday. You know, because she thought it was 11 o'clock at night, and then she found out it was 11 o'clock, but she didn't care. She was just fucking tired. Then she called me like 4 times Sunday night at 5 in the morning. 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning. I didn't hear the phone. We get back to the hospital on Monday, and she's like, oh my God. She goes, I got into a fight last night. And she said that she got into a thing with a guy with a mustache, and he wrestled her to the ground, and there was a volcano, and I'm just like, what are you talking about? And I guess it turned out that my mom had gotten up in the middle of the night and tried to get out of the bed, and the orderly was trying to keep her in bed. And again, I just was like, I don't know what's real and what's not. I don't know. As long as my mom's healthy and happy, I'm fine. And so Monday, she was a lot better. We hung out there, and then I was hanging out with Dan, and I enjoyed that very much because I haven't seen Dan a lot. And he actually looked at me once in the car, and he just goes, I'm enjoying hanging out with you, Michael. And I said, well, that's cool. I said, I'm enjoying the same thing. And he goes, no, he goes, never had a problem with you. I've always gotten along with you, and these past few days just kind of reinforced it, and it's good for your mom that you're here. And I said, well, you know I was coming. And he goes, yeah, but we've had a good time, and I got to say I've enjoyed this time. I said, great, thank you, so have I. And we went to lunch, and we hung out, and we'd go to dinner. And he even told me, he goes, I never eat. He goes, I can't believe I'm eating. I go, dude, neither do I. Eating's for the weak. And he's like, I like that. I think I'm going to take that. I go, good, take it. I said it. But it didn't matter because he and I just kept going to eat. We just kept. There was a place that had lobster lasagna. Oh my God, was it good? And they had cheddar biscuits, and we just kept going to eat. And then yesterday I flew home on Tuesday, but I knew I could see my mom for a couple hours, and I woke up, and she had called my phone again at 5:30 in the morning to say goodbye. She's like, I'm sure you're on your way to the hospital now. I just, or you're on your way to the airport now, but I wanted to make sure I said goodbye and thanks for coming. And it was like, Ma, no, and I told you I was coming in. I'll be in the hospital. So Dan went ahead of me on Tuesday because I woke up. I actually fell asleep in a chair. Dude, Monday night, not only did they not have phone, they didn't have internet. The internet went out. So now I'm just in this fucking old folk ramshackle place with, and it's not ramshackle, it's super nice, but it's like, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's just when you have no phone or no internet. And earlier that night I had had a fucking plate of salmon, and they brought a baked potato and waxed beans with it and like a basket of rolls from 1975. It was just like, dude, where did I wind up? Where am I? So there's no internet, no phone. I'm just sitting in their house. And I fell asleep in a chair. Like literally just like an old person should. That's who I was. I became an old person, and I fell asleep in a chair. Woke up at 4:45, went back to bed until 8:30. Woke up and I hadn't packed, so I told Dan, I go, look, you got to go ahead of me to the hospital. And I grabbed a shower, packed, and went to see my ma. Hung out with her for like an hour. And she was infinitely, she had her teeth in, her hair looked good. She was getting excited because it was Tuesday, and they had already taken out, like I said, on Monday they had taken out the catheter and the fucking chest port and all that stuff, and all she had in her was still the drainage tube, but then they had to take that out, and they did. And so they had told her Tuesday she might be able to go home. And I had met her neighbors. I should tell you this too. When I went to meet my aunt, when I saw my Aunt Marge, I was leaving, and a woman next door just goes, "Are you Mr. TV?" And I said, "I don't know about that." She goes, "Are you Patsy's boy? Weren't you on that Wheel of Fortune show?" I'm like, "Yes, I was."
Aww.
She goes, "Come on over here." And she goes, "Was it fun?" And I said, "It was fun." She goes, "Is that a big place?" And I go, "Yeah, it's a small studio, actually, but I had a really good time. I wish I would have won." "Oh, we loved you, though. You were so good on there." And I go, "Oh, thanks." She goes, "You look good, too. You look like you had fun." I go, "I did have fun. I just wish I would have won." So I met this woman, and she was real nice. She was next door to my aunt. And then later on, I should say, there's this woman named Dottie who lives next door to my mom. I met that couple, Dottie and Bert.
Of course.
And they were super nice. And I walked over and I met Bert, and he was cool. And they go, "Oh, Dottie's got some questions for you." So Dottie comes out and she goes, "I saw you on that. Weren't you on that Jeopardy show?" And I go, "Well, I was on Wheel of Fortune." She goes, "Oh yeah." She goes, I got some questions about that. I got to pick your brain a little bit." I said, "Okay." She goes, "Is that rigged?" I said, "Pardon me?" She goes, "Is that show rigged?" I go, "No, because if it was rigged, I would have won." She goes, "Really?" I go, "Yeah." I go, "They loved me. They did not want me to lose." I go, "So if it would have been rigged, I absolutely would have won, because it's better television if a cool, a guy who's being fun wins." She goes, "Yeah, well, we saw you on there." And she goes, you did good. You can't beat that wheel." I said, "That's exactly what I said. You can't beat the wheel." I said, "And people were rooting for me, and we had a great time." And she's like, "What about that Pat Sajak? Is he nice? And is that Vanna White small?" I mean, it's like it's funny, all the same questions. And I told her about them, and then she asked about my show, and her son wants to be a comedian. And I said, "Well, just tell him to write jokes and go out and do them. That's just what you have to do." She goes, "Well, he told me to tell you to hook him up." I said, "I got news for you. I can't hook me up." And Dottie laughed. And then she was talking about my mom, and I go, "Hi." And she goes, "Yeah, I tell you, that Pat, I tell you, she's something, And I go, "Well, my mom's tough. She's real tough." And she goes, "Yeah, I know she is, but I just want to make sure she's okay." And I said, "Oh man, believe me, I've seen her go through a lot worse than this when she was a kid. She's been in the hospital a lot." And as you know, I'll tell you a story. Here's a story about my mom. And then I told her the story on here about when my mom came out of the hospital bed to break my babysitter's jaw, and then she went back to the hospital. And the best part is, they know my mom. So I'm telling the story, and then Dottie's like kind of laughing, and you kind of see the color go out of her face a little bit, and she just goes, "Oh, oh." And I go, "Yeah." I go, that's my mom." And she goes, "Well, that sounds like Pat." She goes, "I don't know about the punching people part, but yeah, she's pretty tough." And I go, "Yeah, she's real tough, actually."
Somebody in the hospital.
Yeah,
There
she
you
took
go.
a couple of pokes at nurses, for fuck's sake. So it was nice meeting these people. And I'll tell you, everybody was super friendly. Everybody in town, even though they had walkers and they're ready to die, but every one of them would stop and say hello. There was nobody shunned me. Nobody looked away from me. Everybody who walked by, because I was outside a lot trying to text, and old people would be walking and taking their constitutionals or taking their laps, and they would look at me and they would go, "Hello, hi," and I'd be like, "Hi, how are you?" And "Are you having fun with the phone?" Like they all had questions and they all wanted to chat. So I was in the hospital with my mom, and I came time for me to leave. The nurses came in and they said, "Hey, do you want to go home today?" And she said, "Absolutely." They go, "All right, we're starting your paperwork, and we're going to get you out of here. We got to take some more tubes out and figure some stuff out, but yeah, you'll be gone today." But I still had to leave. So I said, "All right." And I said goodbye to Dan. I said goodbye to the babysitter, and I looked at my mom. I said, "All right, Ma," and I gave her a hug. And she goes, "Well, it was good to see you." And I said, "Good to see you too." And I went to walk out. And I kind of took a step. And I stopped. I went back. And my mom was in the recliner. She couldn't get up. And I leaned down to hug her and say goodbye. But this time I got down in front of her. And I looked her in the face. And I took her hands. And I said, "Ma, be happy." And she said, "Well, I will be." And I said, you can't just slough it off. I need you to say that you'll be happy." She goes, "Well, I will. I'll try." And I go, "I know you'll try, but you can't just try." I said, "Because you're about to live life that you didn't think you would have." I said, "You're 70. Let everything go. Because you are notorious for bringing the weight of the world on your shoulders and making it seem like everything is this arduous task, and you can't be like that, Ma." And she goes, I know. I said, "Well, then you just need to let it go." I go, "Dan is a good man, and he took care of you. I mean, you should have seen him, Ma. When you were out of it, he was with you every minute. He was calling me. He's calling everybody. We go home at night, he calls 8 people diligently. You know what it takes for a 72-year-old man to make 8 fucking phone calls in a row?" Like, he carries that flip phone, and it makes this loud noise, and he looks at it, and he always answers. He answers everybody. I said, be good to him and be good to yourself and just live your life. Stay down here. Don't go back to Coal City. Don't go to Illinois. Don't go where it's cold. Don't stress over a paint job. Don't change countertops. Don't do any of that shit. Stay here, sit in your sunroom, and be happy. And she started to cry. And she said, I know what you're saying is true. And I said, it is true. And then I started to cry. And I said, because I'm happy. And I know what it means now to be happy. And I know how powerful it can be to be happy. I go, am I still angry about stuff? Yeah. Am I still an idiot? Yeah, of course I am. But I'm happy. For the first time in a really long time, maybe in ever, I'm the happiest I've ever been. And you have to make that decision, Ma. You have to make that choice. Because you've been given the gift of extra time. Don't just let it go. She said, I won't. I promise. I said, okay. I promised the same thing. And I hugged her and we cried and I left. And I walked out and I thanked her nurses. I saw them in the hallway and I thanked them for taking care of her while she was in town. And I had been there a week. I hit the button for the elevator and I went down because I had to drive to the airport, and I thought about it. And it's amazing the difference 7 days can make. Because a week prior, I was in the room with a stranger. She didn't know me, and I absolutely did not know her. And 7 days later, I left with a pretty good idea of who I think we're both going to be. You guys can get me at Mike at MikeSchmidtComedy.com. You guys can be my friend at Facebook.com/the40-year-old-boy. You can follow me at Twitter.com/the40-year-old-boy. You can be our artwork/music guru impresario, David Hernandez's friend at Facebook.com/DavidMexHernandez. And you can go to artbydmh.com to try to commission him to do some artwork for you. Artbydmh.com, ARTBYDMH.com. Our friend Lily Von Stupp can be found on several different Twitter accounts. Twitter.com/Lily Von Stupp, Twitter.com/MNTs, and Twitter.com/HollywoodBQFest. You can be her friend at Facebook.com/Lily Von Stupp. But if you'd like to write her a personal note and find out what color of popsicle she will put in her mouth, you can write her at Lily at burlesque411.com. That's Lily, Lili, at burlesque411.com. Want to remind you folks about the Monday Night Teas every Monday night at the 3 Clubs on Santa Monica and Vine. I happen to know the producer of that show. She loves popsicles. I think we've covered that, folks. She loves popsicles, although only certain kinds. But again, please write her to find out exactly which ones. She is an amazing producer, a great friend, and a lovely woman in her own right. She is a handsome woman. I like that word, handsome.
I'm a handsome woman? I don't know if I like that word.
I do. I love that word. David Letterman uses it all the time to describe women, and I was like, I really like that word to describe women. She's a handsome woman. That's our friend Lily Von Stupp. Ladies and gentlemen, hi, Lily. You do like it.
Hello.
How are you today?
I am over the K. I'm here.
All right.
Really hot. My back hurts. My neck hurts. My knee hurts.
All of these things are true. It is very warm. I can only attest to the hot part. The rest of you hurting, that's I know it does because you're standing up and jerking around. Well, you're not doing the frug or anything, but still.
Yes, I have severe back pain. I frug often.
Yeah, you do the Watusi. Why not bust some? I actually said the Watusi. Like
Watusi?
it's the Watusi, but I said
Watusi.
that's what I just said. The Watusi. That's not good.
Watusi.
Actually, she's doing the Tutsi, and she hit me in the head with a machete. So she's that's a tribe from Somalia. Hi, Lily. How are you?
I'm
Good.
good.
How was last week's show?
It was jam-packed, full of awesomeness.
It was Miss May's birthday.
It was. Yeah, we had 8 amazing performances, a sold-out crowd, lots of people, lots of fun, cupcakes. It was awesome.
Sounds great. Who's coming up this week?
Well, we decided birthdays and cupcakes are so much fun that we're going to do it again for
Whoa.
Miss Egypt Black Nile's birthday.
All right.
And not only is it a birthday party, but it's an all Michael Jackson show.
An all Michael Jackson birthday party. You know, and when there is an all Michael Jackson birthday party, you know that all little boys' pants are half off. So,
That's right.
ha ha, that's a joke from a million years ago.
I was going to open the show with that.
Why not? Go ahead. Take
Steal
that and
another
run
one
with
of
it.
your jokes.
You steal nothing, and that's not my joke at all.
Yes, it's all Michael Jackson. I'm excited because our Hollywood burlesque best variety artist, Scott Land, who was in Team America. And
He's the puppet guy.
He's the puppet man.
The puppet man.
The puppet man.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's his name. He's performing with his Michael Jackson puppet, so I'm really excited.
Sweet.
Yeah.
As well as a bunch of hot girls taking their clothes off to Michael Jackson tunes.
Yeah.
Will you be dancing?
I may be hosting. It all depends.
All right. But you'll be there to be involved in some way.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out how bad it would be for me to dress as Michael Jackson to host the show.
Lily, are you okay?
I don't know.
Lily, are you okay?
I don't know.
Are you okay, Lily?
I don't know.
You should host it. That'll be
I
fantastic.
just figured it would be ridiculous to do nothing but like just be an idiot. You know, I get to come out with the baby and dangle it over the balcony, and I get to do all of those
Perfect.
terrible things.
Sounds like you're going to make a change for
I
once in your life.
might. Unless, of course, you'd like to host it.
Oh, my Christ, no. That would be awful. Nobody wants to see me. People want to come and see a good show. They want to see a good show with hot, solid girls.
People love to see you host.
People could not be less
People ask me
interested.
all the time when you're going to come host again.
Hmm.
And I say eventually, when I can talk him into it.
Well,
Besides, I want to see you with some Jerry girls.
well, I'll have to see what Mama say. Mama sa, Mama kusa. We'll talk to her and see. Well, so good. So the big Michael Jackson show. That's exciting.
If you want to host it, will you at least help me write some material?
I'm happy to do that, of course, certainly, as always. Whenever you need me, just ask. You never ask, but I'm always here at your disposal if you need me. You know that. All right.
The problem is, I think if I host this way, there'll
Yeah.
be like 5 people who get it, and everybody else will be like, "Aren't you just gonna play Thriller?"
And you have to, yeah, you got to commit to it though. If you're going to do it, that's the deal. Is you really have to commit to it.
Yeah, so it's, you know, because I want to do Ben and all of that.
Of course.
You know, but because I have a little wind-up rat that can go across the stage.
Awesome.
I mean, I have shit, and I'm like, I've been thinking about it. I'm like, some of these things could be really funny, but I'm like, you never know if people are going to go with you on this stuff or not. And they leave you hanging.
Oh, they
sometimes,
do.
You know.
And like I said, you have to commit to the bit. If you're going to do this, you absolutely have to commit to it. And you can't poo-poo it. You have to be doing it, and you have to.
Can. That's all I ever
Don't
do.
though. You must throw yourself fully into it and stay with it and absolutely make it work. Because you can do that. You can pull it off. I have full confidence in you.
I don't know. I'm Facebook shy lately. I feel like every time I say something, I have to go, you know that's a joke, right?
Stop doing that.
Look, we're on Facebook. You know this is a joke, right?
Oh, nobody knows. No, if we're on Facebook, nobody knows it's a joke. They may think that you have a joke, but everybody's got 80 jokes that are better than your joke.
Yes.
Well, good. That maybe you'll get 80 hosts for the show. Just let them all come up and tell their best joke.
I tried that once. It
No,
did
it does
go
not. It
well.
never. Don't ever give anybody else the microphone. That's a rule.
Yeah.
Don't do it. So, all right, well, good. Well, that's the Michael Jackson show, and that's going to be exciting. And then there's plenty of other shows coming up. If you go to Monday Night Teas page at facebook.com/Monday Night Teas and become a member, you will find out about all of the upcoming events that are going to be flowing into your flow box. I just invented the flow box, by the way, everybody. That's going to be fantastic.
That's the chick from Geico. Flow box.
Does she really? I think she might. I actually know Stephanie Courtney is her name.
I don't care. She's Flow. If
She
I
is.
met her, I would be like, hi, Flow.
Yep,
Sorry.
she's Flo forever. But I did stand up with her when I first moved to Los Angeles. Stephanie Courtney. She could not have been nicer or more sweet to me.
My friend Ruby, what does she go by now? Does she go by Ruby White now in San Francisco? Looks so much like her. It's creepy.
Really?
Yeah.
I love the fact that she's a millionaire from that commercial. That's fucking gorgeous. There's a new radio commercial where she sings. Have you heard it?
Mm-mm.
She sings amazingly. I mean, she's really good. There's a thing where Flo has like a song and she sings and I'm like, oh my God, she can actually sing and carry a tune. And I just love the fact that she pitched it. She was just, because they've done so much stuff with her. There's so many things. She goes, hey, I can sing. They went, hey, can Flo sing? Let's make her sing. And then they just came up with it because it's really good. Good for Stephanie. I'm glad she's making tons of dough.
Last, like the Maytag repairman for just like decades.
Boy, it's funny because I was thinking about that literally the other day. Because that singing commercial came out, and I go, they're finding other things for her to do in the context of the character because it's so hard. And especially when you look at Geico, who's committed to having 8,000 fucking ad campaigns at once, and you're like, pick something and stick with it. Well, Progressive has Flo. They just do. And and there's slash fiction about Flo, and there's all sorts of Rule 34s about Flo online.
Dramatic readings of that.
Oh my God! Let Stephanie do it. She should do
You
it.
should do a whole podcast that is nothing but dramatic readings
Of slash fiction about Flo?
just in general.
I say that's really specific.
In general, you should do that where you just read porn from the internet.
Just use my voice and just like
You
do
got a good voice. I think it would. Yeah.
I don't know, and just do like what penthouse letters.
Kind of.
But I'd want to get like some female erotica. I'm like, I wouldn't want to just fucking read dude erotica. That'd be terrible.
You should read anything that's fan fiction though.
Oh, the slash fic. Oh, I see. Well, they do that. They have that show called the erotic.
Whatever. Who cares?
Literary erotic.
Oh my God! No one's
fic.
done a talk show on late night.
Oh Jesus. Well, I don't know. Believe me.
I
There's.
think you'd be really good at that.
Well, you're super
I
nice.
would subscribe.
Oh well, that's one. Look at that. Locked it down. You know what? Why do you need to subscribe? Why don't I just do it with you here in your house? We'll just go ahead and turn the microphones off, and I'll just read it aloud to you.
Be awkward if
Yeah.
you were recording it for a podcast.
When the two of us both lay under the coats together.
No. No, I hide under the coats alone, so do you. There's no. You kicked your ex-wife out. You said, get out from under the coats. This is what
Shoo.
I feel. That's exactly how I feel.
And go lead your life so I can hide under the coats in peace. But the thing is, she and I were worried about the same things. If you and I, who are worried about different sets of problems, hide under the coats together, then we're bonding together against our own
I
problems.
disagree. When I'm in there, I want total. It's like, what are those tanks that you go into?
Sensory deprivation tank.
That's what it's like when I'm
Yeah.
under the coats. I can't. No.
So you want to have no coatability, is what you're saying.
Coatability.
I like it. To your problems.
Really?
Well, good. All right. Well, then I will find other coats to hide under. Good for you. So go to the facebook.com/Monday Night Teas page and then the facebook.com/Hollywood Burlesque Festival page, and you will learn about all of the things that are coming to town and all of the shows and all of the acts that get announced, and it's going to be fantastic and great, and you will find out before anybody else, and you'll see photos, and everything will be super cool, and we'll all get along in Scotland before ye. That'll be great. That always pops into my head.
Did I mention my podcast?
Christ almighty, why don't we? Let's do this.
Mention this? Yeah,
No,
the Burlesque
I know you
podcast.
did. You brought it back, like for real, or you're doing a one-off?
I brought it back for real.
Then why are we
Russell
not
was
plugging
April
this?
1st. Well, because I forgot. Russell was April 1st, and on the 15th, I've got Sheila Starr.
Before you start saying that, let's say what this is called. The Burlesque Podcast.
Burlesque podcast.
It's in iTunes?
It is an item.
All right, if you go in iTunes, look, because people all the time are like, why don't you give Lily a mic?
They'll find out why.
Stop your nonsense. They want to give Lily a microphone. And, I got to tell remind me that on the way out.
Okay.
Okay, that'll be what we'll talk about on the way out. People are like, why doesn't Lily have a microphone? You should give Lily a microphone. And I've tried, and she says no. I actually tried to Toxic Twins with her and bring her over to talk to me, and she says no. Well, if you want to hear Lily, because people, they don't know this about Lily. Lily is doing all of the work here. I talk, but Lily is keeping me on track. She's letting me know where we're at. She's taking notes. She's running the board, and then she will edit this show and she will put it up. But you don't get to hear what I consider to be her greatest talent, which is her real personality. Because she's very entertaining, she's very funny, she's very smart, and if she ever decided to do what I do, she could do it. Because she's lived a life, and you would want to hear about it. But she has chosen not to do that. But she does have a microphone on the Burlesque podcast because she is fascinated by burlesque. She loves it, and she loves the people who perform in it, and she wants to bring a spotlight to them and what they do. So April 1st, in iTunes now, you can actually find it in the Burlesque podcast. You can go ahead and subscribe to it, and you will get her chat with Russell Bruner, who you've heard me mention, and I've talked about how amazing he is at what he does. And you will get to hear her in-depth discussion with Russell Bruner about him and his career, and about burlesque in general, about how he feels about it, she feels about it. And it's an interesting exchange in ideas, and it's, I think, a really good way to bring back the show, I should say, not re-bring back, but to debut the show a second time, because it's a male perspective, which you don't get a lot of in burlesque. So it's Lily who brings a very feminine perspective, and she will have Russell bringing the male perspective. So that show's available now in iTunes. Subscribe, and it's every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So every 2 weeks you'll be getting a new episode, and on the 15th, Miss Hollywood Burlesque, Sheila Star Sayani, who I've talked about, who's quite bendy. And she is a lovely woman, and she is a good person, and I've spoken to her, and I enjoy her. And to hear her talk with Lily, that's going to be a treat. So that will come out on the 15th. But you don't need to know the dates as long as you subscribe. Just know that you'll be getting one every 2 weeks in your iTunes. So subscribe to the Burlesque podcast, and you can search Lily Von Stupp, or you can search Burlesque or whatever in the iTunes, and it will come up. And just go ahead and subscribe, and then it comes down, and you'll get to listen to it, and you'll get to hear Lily, because everybody's like, why don't you ever talk to Lily? Well, I do talk to her, but now you'll get to hear Lily talk to other people who are infinitely more entertaining and interesting than I am, and they're talking about things that they know and that they love. So tune in and get the show. Go ahead and subscribe to the Burlesque podcast with our host and our friend Lily Von Stupp.
And it's about an hour.
About an hour long,
Yeah.
which is good. It's a good time.
I try to keep it in there.
She tries to keep it under an hour, as do I. However, I am...
As we're at what right now?
I don't know.
2:55.
See, the thing is, I'm not nearly as successful. I didn't say I do keep it under an hour. I try to. Remind me to talk about that on the way out. So go ahead and subscribe to the Burlesque podcast. It's awesome, and you will love it. Go to MikeSchmidtComedy.com and go to the Joe Business page. All sorts of cool stuff there. Tweakedaudio.com/40. They are there, and they are involving themselves in getting you cock ring watches and cock ring watches, and then autoerotic asphyxiation earbuds, and of course gear. We've got the Dirt shirt available. We've got the Big Angry CD available. We got a tweet from somebody today who said, thank you so much for putting that out there. He said it was phenomenal, which was great. Thank you. And I can't stress enough, if you like me, get the CD, because I think you will like what I do on there. I do it well. Stupid. There's also the downloads for the Life of Schmitty, which is the single from last year's interlude. And then there is Schmitty Comes Alive. Is that what we're calling it? Was it Schmitty Comes Alive? Is that what it was? And so that's available now. Was it Schmitty Comes Alive? Really?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know. For some reason, that sounds weird to me. Okay. Lily's going to look it up now, but for some reason, that the word Schmitty just doesn't seem like it makes it to me. But I know it comes alive, but I don't know if we used Schmidt or Schmitty or what we used. But either way, that download is available, and I will tell you that I am very proud of that show, to the point where it is Schmitty Comes Alive. All right, so that download is available. All sorts of cool stuff. The Dirt shirt. Say it again.
Those girls are so hot.
Yes, they are. Yeah, it's worth going to the Joe Business page and then to hover over them and see the hover text and see all the fun jokes that I wrote. So go to the Joe Business page and get year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, and year 5 of this podcast available individually or together as the UN of Evil box set. You can go ahead and pick those up right now. And if you want to donate to the show, in the upper left-hand corner of every single page on MikeSchmidtComedy.com, you'll see a little Schmitty with his pocket out. Click on him, donate to the show. You can make a one-time donation, or you can contribute $2 a month, $5 a month, $10 a month, or $25 a month. I do appreciate any and all donations. They get churned right back into the show and let us continue to produce the content that you, I think, are supporting and you may love. I don't want to be that guy who jumps to the conclusion that you love this show. But if you're here and you've gotten all the way through to this end part, then I'm assuming that you love this show, which is good. And we do appreciate it. And were you reminding me about something? You're reminding me about something, right?
No, about
Okay.
me not having a mic. About me not being on the mic.
Oh,
yeah.
that's right. I forgot that. I'm in my mom's hospital room, and she has her phone, and then she said, "I tell you what, kid, I listened to your show." And I was like, "Oh, did you really? Did you hear the one about you?" She goes, "I don't know which one it was, but let me tell you something. 2 hours and fucking 45 minutes. Oh my God, Michael. Dan came in the room, and I'm listening to it, and he goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm listening to Michael's internet podcast, inner podcast, and iPodcast." And then he left, and then he came back an hour later. He's like, "What are you doing?" And she goes, "I'm still listening to this kid. He won't shut the fuck up. The kid won't shut up." I said, "Yeah, I talk quite a bit." And she goes, "Well, yeah, but I'll tell you what, and you got that girl there that she's, she sounds like that she's liking the show, and she seems nice, Lily, right?" And I go, "Yeah." And she goes, "Well, how come she's not on? She doesn't have a microphone. Why doesn't she talk to you?" And I go, "Well, I tried to give her a microphone. She doesn't want to talk." And she's like, "Yeah, maybe you should give her a microphone." I go, "Yeah, I'll take it under advisement, Mom. After 6 fucking years, I'm glad that you're chiming in with your creative notes." And she said, "Well, she just sounds like she's having a good time, and maybe you talk to her and ask her some questions. But you talk, oh my God, you just keep talking." And the thing is, I said to myself, you should get a mic, but maybe you don't give her a mic because you won't shut the fuck up. I said, "Yeah, Ma, that's kind of the thing. I have to keep talking to keep the balls in the air and start juggling." And she's like, "Well, I don't know about the juggling and all that, but boy, oh boy, you just keep fucking talking, don't you? And you won't shut up. It's just fucking unbelievable." And I go, "Yes, Mom, it's unbelievable. I won't shut up. That's the show, Mom. It's me talking. You know that, right?" "Well, yeah, but I'll tell you what, you just keep going on, and you just won't stop talking." And then I looked at the other shows, and I mean, they're all over 2 hours, 2.5 hours. And oh my God, who talks that much? Like, what do you got to say? I go, "Ma, I don't know. I don't have anything to say, obviously. Clearly, I have nothing to say of any import or interest to anyone at all." And she's like, "Well, I'm not saying that, but I'll tell you what, I wanted to try to listen to it, and I was going to tell Margaret." I go, "Do not tell Aunt Marge to listen to the show. I'd like to speak to her again before she passes, because I know that she's never going to want to see me again if she has to hear a fucking show where I start talking about stuff that she doesn't want to know about. Yeah, but I'll tell you what, you really ought to think twice about, it just seems so long." "Ma, people like it. It's okay. I wouldn't do it if people didn't like it." "Yeah, but if you did, oh my